Chapter 472. Obuchi, why are you so nice to teacher? Bibidon asked softly as she looked carefully at Lu Yuan. Because you're my teacher. In my heart you're as important as Cher, senior sister, and Zhu Qing, Lu Yuan replied softly as he met Bibidon's gaze. Obuchi. Bibidon knew from the sincerity in Lu Yuan's eyes that her disciple was telling the truth. She couldn't help but feel gratified. Her disciple was truly filial. Speaking of which, no one had ever treated her so well in her life. There was no need to mention Chihiro disease. He was a beast in human clothing. He actually dared to do such a thing to her disciple. She took advantage of his heavy injuries to kill him and even devoured his soul. It was precisely because of this that she was able to enter the Rakshasa mystic realm and obtain the Rakshasa inheritance. Yu Xiaojiang? Her love for Yu Xiaojiang was basically one-sided. When had Yu Xiaojiang ever given her anything? When they were together, they only talked about theories. He was the person who was most interested in theories. When he was in the Martial Soul Palace, his favorite place to go was the Martial Soul Palace's library to borrow information. How much time did he have to care about her? Not to mention giving her any gift. However, this disciple of hers was different. Not only did she give her a priceless treasure like the external soul bone, she was even willing to give her the God position inheritance. The God position inheritance was such a precious thing. Her disciple had given it to her without any hesitation. This made Bibidon's heart surge with emotions that couldn't be calmed down for a long time. Unknowingly, Lu Yuan's position in Bibidon's heart rose to a whole new level. Bibidon gently raised her hand and caressed Lu Yuan's face. Her eyes were filled with love. Teacher, please accept it. Lu Yuan grabbed Bibidon's hand and placed the Neptune's heart in her hand. Bibidon's beautiful eyes sparkled as she looked at the Neptune's heart in her hand. She didn't care about Lu Yuan grabbing her hand. What she cared about was Lu Yuan's concern for her. It was a concern that she rarely felt. The Neptune's heart emitted a gentle light that seemed to be able to cleanse one's soul. Bibidon only felt that the light was so dazzling that it seemed to even purify the corrupted soul that had been corroded by the Rakshas's power. She sighed softly, and then grabbed Lu Yuan's hand and placed the Neptune's heart in Lu Yuan's hand again. Teacher, what are you doing? Looking at Bibidon's actions, Lu Yuan's eyes were filled with confusion. The Neptune's position was clearly better than the Rakshasa deity position, but why did Bibidon refuse? Obuchi, you should keep this Neptune's heart for yourself. Even if you don't need it, you can give it to Nana or Zhu Qing. It's a waste to give it to Teacher. Teacher already has the Rakshasa deity's inheritance and has completed the 6th test. Teacher is now in the 7th test. Teacher has worked hard for more than 10 years. If I give up now, wouldn't all my hard work be in vain? Bibidon smiled and said, moreover, the Rakshasa deity is also a first-tier god. If Teacher takes the Neptune's heart, he will definitely lose the Rakshasa deity position. Wouldn't that be a pity? If you give the Neptune's inheritance to Nana or Zhu Qing, wouldn't you have another deity position? That would be more worth it. Teacher, this isn't how it should be calculated. Although you are now taking the Rakshas's 7th test, it doesn't mean that you will take more time to take the Neptune's 9 tests. As long as you don't have the Rakshas's inheritance, your strength can instantly recover to the level of an ultimate Douluo. If an ultimate Douluo takes the 9 tests, they can directly skip the first 6 tests because the first 6 tests are a test of the examinee's basic strength. An ultimate Douluo undoubtedly already has enough strength, so once you take the Neptune's test, you will also start from the 7th test. It won't be much slower than when you take the Rakshas's inheritance. Lu Yuan tried his best to persuade him. Obuchi, how do you know so much about the God's test? You haven't taken the God's 9 tests. In my opinion, the holy sword brand on your forehead shouldn't belong to the inheritance of the 9 tests. The angel's 9 tests should be share, right? Furthermore, even if you are the inheritor of a god, you shouldn't know so much about the God's test, right? Bibidon was a little puzzled. An ultimate Douluo could directly skip the first 6 tests if they took the 9 tests. She didn't even know this information, so how did Obuchi know? Could it be related to his secret again? Recalling that Lu Yuan had some understanding of the god, Bibidon couldn't help but have this thought. Teacher, you don't have to worry about how I know, but this is the truth. If you take the Neptune's test, your speed might not be much slower than the Rakshasa god. I am sure that if you take the Neptune's 9 tests, you can become a god within 10 years at the latest. If you continue to take the Rakshas's test, your speed might not be any faster. If you want to become a god, you will also need about 10 years. Furthermore, the Rakshas's test is too painful. At the same time, the Rakshasa god is the god of evil thoughts. If you continue like this, I am worried that you— What are you worried about? Bibidon asked. I am worried that your heart will be completely dyed in darkness by the Rakshasa god, and you will fall into a state of madness. Teacher, I don't want to see you become like this one day. Thinking of Bibidon, who almost went crazy at the end of the original work, Lu Yuan's heart suddenly clenched. He really didn't want to see Bibidon fall to such a state one day. What he hoped was that Bibidon would be different from the original work and have a good ending. Obuchi. Bibidon sighed softly, but still insisted on her own thoughts. She was very touched by Lu Yuan's concern for her, but she also had her own thoughts and feelings. As long as the knot in her heart was not untied, she would not be free. Ever since that incident, that nightmare had been haunting her, and she could no longer get rid of it. Furthermore, the Neptune was also a god that contained the power of light. Could the darkness in her heart really accept the position of the Neptune's god? Moreover, her 2 martial souls were not compatible with the position of the Neptune. The Death Spider Emperor and the Soul-Devouring Pearl Emperor were such evil martial souls. She was born to inherit the evil thoughts of the Rakshasa god. Thinking of this, Bibidon's face flashed with a self-deprecating smile. Take it back. Bibidon pushed back the Neptune's heart that was stuffed into Lu Yuan's hand, along with his palm. Teacher, you. Looking at Bibidon's actions, Lu Yuan really couldn't figure it out. He had already said so much, but Bibidon still chose to refuse. Lu Yuan opened his mouth to say something, but was interrupted by Bibidon. Don't try to persuade me. Teacher has already made up his mind and will not change it. Bibidon's tone was soft, but full of determination. Chapter 473. Hearing the determination in Bibidon's words, Lu Yuan's expression became complicated. Could it be that he still wanted Bibidon to take the so-called Rakshasa divine test? Was he just going to watch Bibidon fall into that crazy state again? Lu Yuan was very unwilling in his heart. However, Bibidon had already made up her mind, and he couldn't change Bibidon's mind. Bibidon wasn't Chihiro Snow. Although Chihiro Snow was stubborn, she listened to him because he was Chihiro Snow's man. However, in front of Bibidon, he was just a disciple. He should be the one who listened. Lu Yuan sighed deeply. He looked a little disappointed. He was full of confidence and wanted to change something, but he couldn't change anything. This feeling was really bad. Looking at the disappointed expression on Lu Yuan's face, Bibidon smiled. She raised her hand and rubbed Lu Yuan's head. This disciple of hers sincerely wanted to give the sea god's inheritance treasure to her, but she directly rejected him. He must be feeling terrible. Moreover, he was right. The darkness in her heart was increasing, and it was very likely that she would fall into madness in the future. Or rather, she had already started to go crazy. After all, she was the one who understood herself the most. She wanted to take revenge on this world, and she also wanted to destroy the Martial Soul Palace. She also wanted to destroy the Angel Clan. However, Bibidon was a little hesitant now. Even if the whole world had let her down, there were still people in this world who cared about her. There were still people who thought about her. This world wasn't really without any warmth. Moreover, This little disciple of hers and Cher were so dedicated to the great cause of the Martial Soul Palace. Did she really want to destroy the Martial Soul Palace and destroy the blood, sweat, and tears they had worked so hard for so long? Bibidan's heart began to waver. After all, Lu Yuan's words had touched her. Teacher! Feeling the warmth from Bibidan's hand that was gently rubbing his head, Lu Yuan called out softly. Obuchi! Bibidan's jade-like hand paused, her gaze locked with Lu Yuan's. Her eyes were filled with love as she said, You don't have to worry about teacher. Even if teacher has completely fallen into madness, teacher will never hurt you. Teacher promises you. Looking at Bibidan's gentle and caring eyes, Lu Yuan sighed softly again and remained silent for a long time. Creak! Lu Yuan gently pushed open the door of the room. The room was brightly lit, and a faint fragrance filled the air. Hearing the sound, Hulina immediately turned around. Seeing Lu Yuan walk in, a brilliant smile appeared on her face. Junior brother, you're back? Hulina's soft voice sounded with a hint of charm. There was a hint of joy in her tone. Lu Yuan lightly nodded. Then come over quickly. Senior sister has been waiting for you for a long time. Hulina winked at Lu Yuan, as if she was releasing some special signal. However, Lu Yuan acted as if he didn't see it. He walked straight forward and gently sat down at the head of the bed. Not getting the response she expected, Hulina slightly frowned. There was a hint of confusion in her beautiful eyes. The current junior brother was a bit strange. If it was a normal junior brother, he might have already pounced on her. Unlike now, where he didn't seem to have any reaction at all and was completely oblivious to her charms. What's wrong, junior brother? Did something happen? Hulina gently hugged Lu Yuan from behind. Her charming face was placed on Lu Yuan's back as she asked softly. Nothing. Lu Yuan said softly. Junior brother, don't lie to me. Your current appearance is very different from usual. It's obvious that you're not in a good mood. Who made you angry? Could it be that something unpleasant happened between you and teacher? Hulina asked softly. There's no such thing. Don't guess blindly. What unpleasant thing could happen between me and teacher? I don't even have enough time to respect and love her. Why would I go and annoy her? Lu Yuan lightly said. Then what's going on, junior brother? Hulina gently blinked her beautiful eyes and asked softly. It's really nothing. I'm just a little depressed. Don't worry about me, senior sister. Gently holding Hulina's hands, Lu Yuan softly said. Listening to Lu Yuan's words, Hulina's eyes slightly flickered. Her intuition told her that something must have happened. Otherwise, with junior brother's cheerful personality, he wouldn't be depressed for no reason. It's just that junior brother obviously didn't want to tell her. This made her somewhat helpless. If junior brother didn't want to say, she couldn't do anything. Alright, don't worry about me. I'm really fine. After pushing Hulina's hands away, Lu Yuan turned around and gently caressed Hulina's face. He squeezed out a smile and said, Senior sister, let me give you a present. Give me a present? But didn't you say that you'll give me a reward if I perform well? But I haven't performed yet. Hulina stared fixedly at Lu Yuan. A faint charm flashed across her eyes. If I do it with junior brother, his mood should be better. Hulina thought to herself. I'll perform tomorrow. I don't have such thoughts now. Lu Yuan softly said. With a shake of his hand, an extremely complete earthy yellow soul bone appeared in his hand. Suddenly, there seemed to be an additional dense aura in the air. It was the 90,000-year-old thousand-catty ant emperor's torso bone. Junior brother, this is? Hulina's eyes were filled with intense astonishment. This soul bone's quality was extremely high. Furthermore, it seemed to be a torso bone. A 90,000-year-old thousand-catty ant emperor's torso bone. Senior sister, you can absorb it. Lu Yuan softly said as he handed the torso bone to Hulina. A 90,000-year-old thousand-catty ant emperor's torso bone? Junior brother, this is an extremely rare treasure. It's too much of a waste to give it to me. You should keep it for yourself. Seeing that Lu Yuan actually gave her such a precious soul bone, Hulina was first astonished. After that, she thought of returning it to Lu Yuan. Although soul bones were precious in Hulina's eyes, Lu Yuan was the most important. Since I've given it to you, it's yours. Furthermore, apart from external soul bones, all of my soul bones have to be at least 100,000 years old. I'm not interested in this soul bone, so senior sister, you should absorb it. Lu Yuan said plainly. Hearing this, Hulina revealed a strange expression. What is he saying? Apart from external soul bones, he's not interested in soul bones below 100,000 years old? Does this sound like something a human would say? Should I say that he's indeed junior brother? Isn't his standards a little too high? However, although Hulina's expression was a little strange, she was very happy in her heart. A 90,000-year-old thousand catty ant emperor's torso bone was definitely worth more than 100,000 years old soul bone. However, Huoyuhao actually gave it to her. Thinking about it, she was still very important to Huoyuhao. As Hulina thought about it, she revealed a smile in her eyes. Chapter 474. Lu Yuan lay on his bed quietly as his thoughts wandered. Beside him, Hulina was absorbing the 90,000-year-old 1,000-kilogram ant emperor's bone. A 90,000-year-old bone contained a lot of energy. After absorbing this soul bone, Hulina's abilities should increase by 1 rank. Hulina had already reached rank 56 a year ago. After a year, although she had spent a lot of time polishing her soul power had still increased by 2 ranks thanks to the hidden effects of the yearning heartbroken red. She was now at rank 58. With this 1,000-kilogram ant emperor's bone, she should be able to reach rank 59. There was still about half a year before the Continental Soul Master Tournament. By then, Hulina might already be a Soul Emperor. She was 1 rank higher than she was at the same time in the original story. And all of this was brought about by Lu Yuan. It could be said that Hulina had grown a lot with Lu Yuan's help. Thinking about Zhu Zhuqing, Lu Yuan could tell at a glance how much she had improved since his return. In a year, she had increased by leaps and bounds. From rank 45 to rank 51, she had crossed the threshold of becoming a Soul King. Lu Yuan was a little surprised. However, Lu Yuan thought about it carefully. He had left 5 Spirit Ascension pills for Zhu Zhuqing. With these 5 Spirit Ascension pills, she should be able to increase her soul power by 3 ranks. In addition to Zhu Zhuqing's cultivation over the past year, it didn't seem impossible for her to increase by 5 ranks. Roughly speaking, Chihiro Snow was now at rank 67, Hulina was at rank 59 after absorbing the soul bone, and Zhu Zhuqing was at rank 51. His 3 women were growing very quickly. Of course, he wasn't slow either. He was only 14 years old, but he was already at rank 57. By the time the Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament came, even if he couldn't become a Soul Emperor, he would at least be at rank 58 or 59. Unknowingly, he and his women had grown a lot. I wonder how strong they are now? Lu Yuan thought to himself. He would naturally find out about his combat strength tomorrow. Lu Yuan's double pupils flickered slightly as if he had thought of something important. He sighed helplessly. The others were fine, but Bibidan's matter was really difficult to handle. He just couldn't put his heart at ease. I wonder if teacher has absorbed the external attachment soul bone of the 10,000-year man-face demon spider, and how much progress has he made? Lu Yuan's mind spun rapidly. In an antique room, Bibidan sat on the bed. Dark black energy undulated on her body. Finally, this energy was completely absorbed at a certain point. With a tearing sound, a dark purple light condensed on Bibidan's back. 8 pairs of dark purple wings tore the clothes on her back and drilled out. The 8 pairs of dark purple wings flickered with a faint dark purple light. At the same time, there were long and narrow dark purple barbs on each wing. The barbs were glowing with purple light, and they were full of potent poison. The 8 pairs of wings stretched out secretly, and pure energy was absorbed from the air. After that, the pure energy replenished Bibidon's body and helped her recover her soul power. This time I really have to thank Obuchi. My external attachment soul bone has evolved a lot. Not only did it change from 6 wings to 8, but it also has the ability to devour and poison. It can also absorb energy from the air to speed up the recovery of soul power. A trace of a smile appeared on Bibidon's face. With this trace of a smile, her already incomparably beautiful face appeared even more gorgeous. It was truly enough to cause the downfall of a city. The original external attachment soul bone was called the 6-winged purple light wings. Since it has 8 wings now, let's call it the 8-winged purple light wings. Bibidon softly said, and decided on the name of the external attachment soul bone. Perhaps some people would find it strange that the 6-winged purple light wings, together with the external attachment soul bone that was similar to the 8-spider spear, still only had 8 wings after the mutation. This was because 6 of the ribs that the 2 soul bones were attached to had overlap. Therefore, even after the evolution, it still only had 8 wings. However, 8 wings was still fine. If it really had 14 wings, it would really be a little clown. The more wings you had, the better you looked. The 8-winged purple light wings gently stretched out. With a thought, Bibidon put them away. Once the 8-winged purple light wings were retracted, Bibidon's jade-like white back was revealed through the gap in her clothes. This was also why Bibidon waited for Lu Yuan to leave before absorbing the external attachment soul bone. It was because she didn't want Lu Yuan to see this scene. After all, although they were master and disciple, there was still a difference between men and women. Therefore, Bibidon was still very concerned about this point. However, what she didn't know was that the things that should be seen had already been seen by a certain unscrupulous fellow a long time ago because of an accident. It was just that he had always hidden it deep in his heart, and didn't dare to say it out loud. The 8-winged purple light wings were retracted, and the joy on Bibidon's face gradually disappeared. She couldn't help but have a complicated look in her eyes as she recalled the scene before Lu Yuan left. At that time, Lu Yuan was leaning against the door. He slightly turned around and looked at Bibidon. He gently opened his mouth and spoke in a calm tone. "Teacher, you should let go of what you should let go of. That person you thought you loved deeply, perhaps your feelings for him weren't strictly speaking love, but a kind of obsession. Perhaps you don't love him as a person, but the image in your heart, the image in which you have placed all your hopes and beauty. You think he is perfect in your heart, but in reality, he is not as perfect as you imagine him to be. When a person encounters an enormous pain that they can't resist, or even when they fall into the abyss of despair, they will always hope to protect the last piece of pure land in their heart. It's like a person who has fallen into darkness, hoping to grasp the last ray of light. At this time, the more intense the invasion of darkness is, the more stubborn they will be to that ray of light. And Rakshasa is extreme and dark. It will completely transform this kind of stubbornness into obsession, and even deeply sink into a state of paranoia. The feelings that were originally just like first love were forcibly drawn into a maddening sadomasochistic love. Let go of the obsession in your heart, and face the figure in your heart in your clear-headed state. Are you sure your love for him is really that deep? Is it him that you're reluctant to part with, or is it the pure and beautiful time of first love? And is he really worthy of you investing all of your body, mind, and feelings in him? Lu Yuan's calm and gentle gaze was closely fixed on Bibidon. His eyes were filled with deep concern, and his calm voice, which could easily touch one's heart, came out of his mouth and went straight into Bibidon's ears. "Teacher, think about it carefully." Looking at the slightly stunned Bibidon, Lu Yuan sighed softly and turned to leave. Chapter 475. Obuchi, how many secrets do you know about me? The scene before Lu Yuan left surfaced in her mind. His words also rang in Bibidan's heart. Lu Yuan's words contained too much information. Bibidan suspected that this disciple of hers already knew her deepest secrets. Whether it was Chihiro disease or Yu Xiaojiang's relationship with her, this disciple of hers probably knew everything. Otherwise, he wouldn't have purposely left those words before he left. He knew the knot in his heart, which was why he left behind these last words to remind him before he left. This disciple of his had always been very mysterious. There was always a veil of mystery around him. This was especially so after Long Xiaoyao's appearance. His mysteriousness was completely revealed. She knew about Lu Yuan's explanation to Chihiro Snow. However, she wasn't Chihiro Snow. She only believed half of Lu Yuan's words. She was the Pope of the Martial Soul Palace. Her intelligence was top-notch. Lu Yuan's explanation was reasonable, but it wasn't without loopholes. Chihiro Snow might not be able to tell because he wasn't experienced enough. However, she could tell that something was different. Furthermore, Lu Yuan's endless tricks, soul tools, pills, and so on were all things that had been lost or never existed. If Lu Yuan could take them out, there had to be a deeper secret behind him. Bibidan didn't ask about it. That was because she believed that Lu Yuan belonged to the Martial Soul Palace. He wouldn't betray her. She didn't approve of others easily. However, once she did, she would have a lot of trust in that person. Lu Yuan's actions didn't betray her trust. Bibidan could naturally sense the concern in Lu Yuan's words. It was also because Lu Yuan's words were so sincere that Bibidan was touched. She didn't care how Lu Yuan knew about her secret. She was more concerned about the content of Lu Yuan's words. Was it really like what Obuchi had said? Was what she felt for Xiao Gang not love, but an obsession? Bibidan had a complicated look in her eyes. She wouldn't have cared if someone else had said something like this. That was because Yu Xiaojiang was too important to her. If someone else had said something like this, she would have suspected that someone was trying to harm her by using Xiao Gang to disrupt her thoughts. However, Lu Yuan was different. Lu Yuan also had an important position in her heart. Furthermore, this disciple of hers treated her very well. He was even willing to give her treasures like the external soul bone and the Neptune's heart. Bibidan wouldn't believe that Lu Yuan was trying to harm her. Furthermore, Lu Yuan swore on his martial soul that he would never hurt her in this life. Bibidan didn't have any doubts about Lu Yuan anymore. It was because of this that Lu Yuan's words could easily touch her heart. Could it be that he had really fallen into paranoia? Was she really just obsessed with Xiao Gang? Then, should I really try to let go of all this? Bibidan was a little hesitant. She sighed softly, and there was a trace of melancholy in her voice. Her originally indestructible heart was slightly shaken. She couldn't help but have a trace of doubt about her feelings for Yu Xiaojiang. Was Xiao Gang the person that she had always remembered in her heart, or was she really just reluctant to part with the beautiful times when she was first in love? Bibidan couldn't tell, but she had to admit that Lu Yuan's words made sense. This was also the reason why Lu Yuan said those words. Yu Xiaojiang might have a deep obsession in Bibidan's heart. It was impossible to persuade her to let go after just one time. However, it was entirely possible to plant a seed of doubt in her heart with Lu Yuan's current position in her heart. If Bibidan really wanted to be free, then she had to let go of Yu Xiaojiang. Moreover, Yu Xiaojiang was now wholeheartedly assisting Tang San. In the future, he was destined to be an enemy of the Martial Soul Palace. If he didn't get rid of Bibidan's obsession with Yu Xiaojiang, it would be troublesome to deal with Yu Xiaojiang in the future. Of course, Lu Yuan could easily crush Yu Xiaojiang, but he was afraid that Bibidan would feel uncomfortable in her heart, or even resent him. This was something that he didn't want to see. However, if Bibidan truly recognized himself and completely let go of Yu Xiaojiang, then he wouldn't hesitate to make a move against Yu Xiaojiang. Tang San, Yu Xiaojiang, they would all be killed with one slap. He didn't put these two people in his eyes at all. Tang San was never his opponent. He had always been concerned about Bibidan. The son of fate might be amazing in the eyes of others, but in front of him, it was just SOSO. Especially recently, when he was comprehending the clear air god seed, he could also feel that there was a mysterious force supporting him, allowing him to do things smoothly. If he wasn't wrong, it should be the power of fate. Moreover, his fate should be above Tang San's. As for where his fate came from, it might be related to the clear air god seed in his body. When a son of fate's fate was inferior to his own, what was there to worry about? There was no need to worry at all. Bibidon sighed again and stood up. The clothes on her back were torn, she needed to change. Junior apprentice brother, wake up! In the morning, Lu Yuan was still sleeping soundly when he felt an itchy feeling on his face. He instantly woke up from his sleep. He thought a lot last night, so he slept a little late and didn't wake up in time this morning. Lu Yuan opened his eyes and saw Hulina's beautiful face. She was holding a feather and gently playing with his face. Seeing Lu Yuan open his eyes, Hulina spoke softly with a smile on her face. Junior apprentice brother, you're awake? What do you think? He looked at Hulina speechlessly. How could he not wake up when she was playing with his face with a feather? Hee. Hulina chuckled. She had just finished absorbing the 90,000-year-old thousand-catty ant emperor's torso bone, and her soul power had increased by another level. She was now at rank 59, so she couldn't help but wake Lu Yuan up to share her joy with him. You've finished absorbing, and your soul power has broken through? Lu Yuan asked softly as he looked at Hulina's bright smile. Yes, it's completely integrated, and my soul power has also broken through by a level. Hulina giggled, then pecked Lu Yuan's face and laid on Lu Yuan's body. Junior apprentice brother, you're the best, Hulina said softly. Of course, who asked you to be my dearest senior apprentice sister? Lu Yuan gently hugged Hulina's waist and said gently. Chapter 476. Of course, who asked you to be my most beloved senior sister? Lu Yuan's hands gently wrapped around Hulina's waist. With a smile on his face, he held her tightly in his arms. Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Hulina smiled even more happily. She gently lay in Lu Yuan's arms, her beautiful face full of joy. He raised his right hand slightly and rubbed Hulina's head. That short golden hair was very soft and comfortable to the touch. He gently glanced at the sky outside. A red light had just appeared in the east, and the sun had not risen yet. It was still quite early. His senior sister had actually woken him up at this time. He probably slept for less than 4 hours last night. However, his mental strength was very strong, and it was not a big deal for him to sleep for a short time occasionally. Hugging Hulina's delicate body and feeling her softness, Lu Yuan's breathing could not help but become heavy. He was in a bad mood last night, so he did not do anything. However, his mood had long since recovered. As he hugged Hulina so tightly, some bad thoughts appeared again. Moreover, Hulina was not being honest. He could clearly feel that Hulina was doing some vague movements, as if she was deliberately teasing him. This made Lu Yuan feel a little amused. It turned out that he was not the only one who could not control himself. His senior sister was also the same. It should still be in time at this time, Lu Yuan muttered. Moreover, other than testing Cher and Zhu Qing's strength today, there's nothing important to do. So even if I wake up a little late, it shouldn't affect me much, Lu Yuan thought to himself. Then, with that thought in mind, Lu Yuan could not help but look at Hulina. At the same time, Hulina could not help but look over as well. In an instant, a strange atmosphere began to appear. When the sun was high in the sky, Lu Yuan and Zhu Qing finally got out of bed. Lu Yuan was dressed in white and was full of energy. It was as if the less than 4 hours of sleep last night did not affect him at all. In fact, he even seemed to be more energetic. A gentle breeze blew, and Lu Yuan's long hair that draped over his shoulders could not help but flutter in the wind. Out of nowhere, he gave off a carefree and unrestrained feeling. Hulina was dressed in a white one-piece dress, and her short blonde hair looked clean and neat. Her face was glowing red, and she was in a very good state. Her pair of flirtatious and beautiful eyes were watery, and carried a strange charm. Today, Hulina seemed to be particularly charming. The two walked together to the pavilion in the middle of the lake. Bibidon, Chihiro Snow, and Zhu Zhuqing had already arrived. In front of them was breakfast, but it seemed that they had not touched it at all. It was obvious that they were all waiting for Lu Yuan and Zhu Qing. Seeing Lu Yuan and Hulina come together, Chihiro Snow and Zhu Zhuqing looked at Lu Yuan at the same time, and a trace of resentment flashed in their eyes. Seeing this, Lu Yuan could not help but gently rub his nose, feeling a little guilty. Hulina, on the other hand, did not seem to be affected, and still had a bright smile on her face. "Since you're here, then sit down and eat." Looking at the two, Bibidon said softly, "Okay." Lu Yuan nodded slightly, then found an empty seat and sat down, just in between Chihiro Snow and Zhu Zhuqing. This was great. The two women's resentful eyes kept wandering around him, making him a little uncomfortable. He had no choice but to pretend that he did not see, and looked at Bibidon, who was sitting opposite him. Bibidon's face was calm, as if Lu Yuan's words last night did not affect her at all. Lu Yuan looked at her carefully, as if trying to find some clues. Noticing that Lu Yuan's eyes were looking at her face, Bibidon could not help but glare at him, which made Lu Yuan immediately withdraw his gaze. Seeing Lu Yuan withdraw his gaze, Bibidon's beautiful eyes blinked, and she felt a little funny. She could roughly understand Lu Yuan's thoughts. Wasn't he just trying to see if she had changed after hearing his words last night? But she was the Pope. How could it be so easy for others to see through her thoughts? Obuchi, this child, was underestimating her teacher too much. And to stare at her so directly, this child Obuchi was a little rude. But that being said, Bibidon was not angry in her heart. Lu Yuan's concern for her was very useful in her heart. Looking at Lu Yuan, who had his head lowered, and looking at Hulina, who was smiling brightly, her face flushed, and in high spirits, Bibidon said softly, "In the future, pay attention to moderation, don't be too reckless, you're still young, pay attention to your health. And in the future, if you want to do anything at night, pay attention to the time, don't do things you shouldn't do early in the morning." Bibidon's voice was not loud, but to Lu Yuan and Lu Wenbin, it was earth-shattering, instantly shocking the two of them. Lu Yuan lowered his head slightly, his right hand gently scratching his head. Being called out by Bibidon like this, even with his thick skin, he could not hide it, and he felt a little embarrassed. And Hulina, needless to say, her originally rosy little face was completely red, her head was lowered, and her pair of small hands grabbed the corner of her skirt. She was really embarrassed. After all, although she was bold and enthusiastic, it did not mean that her skin was thick. She was not Lu Wenbin. What's more, this time, even Lu Wenbin felt a little embarrassed. Looking at the two of them, Bibidon's lips curled up slightly, revealing a trace of a smile. At this moment, Lu Yuan was a little curious. She had never seen her disciple so embarrassed. Seeing him like this was really quite interesting. "Ahem, just pay attention in the future, let's eat first." Not letting this awkward mood continue for too long, Bibidon spoke softly and directly called the two of them to eat. "Yes, teacher." Hearing Bibidon's words, the two of them held their bowls and began to eat. Slowly, as they ate, the awkward atmosphere in the air gradually disappeared. "What are you going to do later?" After eating, Bibidon took a handkerchief and gently wiped her red lip. "Later, I want to test the strength of Cher and the others, and see how much they have grown in the past year." Lu Yuan smiled and said, "And I also want to show teacher my progress in the past year. I believe that teacher will be shocked when he sees my strength." He believed that when his 100,000-year soul ring was revealed, Bibidon would definitely be shocked. 100,000-year soul ring, this would definitely shock everyone on the continent. Even Bibidon certainly had not seen such an existence. Lu Yuan was definitely the only one in the world. Oh, then I'll wait and see. Hearing the confidence in Lu Yuan's tone, Bibidon was also interested. She really wanted to see how much progress this disciple of hers had made in the past year to have such confidence. She could not help but feel a faint sense of anticipation in her heart. Chapter 477. Lu Yuan and the others appeared in an open space on Lake Heart Island. Lake Heart Island was actually very big. In addition to the pavilions used for living, there was also a large open space. At least, it was more than enough for battle. Looking at Chihiro Snow, Hulina, and Zhu Zhuqing in front of him, Lu Yuan smiled and said, "Today's test won't be one-on-one. The three of you will come together. Let me see how strong you are when you join forces." Hulina winked at Lu Yuan and said playfully, "The three of you will come together. Junior brother, be careful that you will be beaten into a pig's head. We have 2 Soul Kings and 1 Soul Emperor here. Moreover, we are not ordinary Soul Kings and Soul Emperors. Junior brother, if you lose, don't cry. Of course, if you can beat me into a pig's head, I will be very happy. Because that means that you have really grown. I'm just afraid that you are not strong enough and will be defeated after a few rounds. If you lose even with 3 against 1, then none of you will be able to escape tonight. Let's go together." Looking at the 3 of them, Lu Yuan said with a chuckle, "The 3 of us together?" Hearing Lu Yuan's words, the 3 girls rolled their eyes at the same time and secretly spat. "This guy is dreaming. That, can I go too?" Zhu Zhuqing secretly spat at first, then as if she had discovered something, she asked Lu Yuan with a strange expression in her cold eyes. You?" Looking at Zhu Zhuqing's gaze, Lu Yuan immediately knew what this girl was thinking. Just now, he had a slip of the tongue and included her. You don't count just the 2 of them. Since he had recovered, Lu Yuan immediately added another sentence. Hearing this, Zhu Zhuqing's face revealed a trace of obvious disappointment. She looked at Lu Yuan with a trace of hidden bitterness. "You are still young. Let's wait for another 2 years. Let's wait until you are 16. Looking at Zhu Zhuqing's somewhat disappointed eyes, Lu Yuan said softly. Zhu Zhuqing wasn't like him. Although Zhu Zhuqing developed very quickly in some aspects, her physical development was similar to that of a normal soul master. She was only considered to have fully developed at the age of 16. Only at this time, when doing that kind of thing, it would not cause any harm to her body. Zhu Zhuqing was only 14 years old, which was still too young. Because he had the bloodline of the second-generation Golden Dragon, he developed extremely quickly. When he was 12 years old, his body was already comparable to that of a 16-year-old male soul master. Now that he was 14 years old, he was roughly comparable to that of an 18-year-old soul master. Could be said that Lu Yuan was almost fully developed now. Even in the future, there would not be much change. Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Zhu Zhuqing's face dimmed for a moment. However, it returned to normal after a while. Lu Yuan did this because he cared about her. Therefore, although Zhu Zhuqing was a little disappointed, she was also slightly happy in her heart. How about it? You don't have any objections to my suggestion, right? Of course, even if you do, I won't accept it. This matter is settled. Lu Yuan waved his hand and made the final decision. You, scoundrel! Chihiro Snow and Hulina couldn't help but roll their eyes at the same time. They were angry and amused at the same time. So everything is decided by you, and our opinions are not important at all. However, looking at this guy's appearance, it seemed like he really had them in his hands. The 3 of them were very strong. However, thinking about it carefully, this guy was clearly stronger. This was something that the 3 of them were well aware of. Although Hulina said that just now, it was actually just a joke. Even Hulina didn't have the slightest confidence that the 3 of them could defeat Lu Yuan together. After all, Lu Yuan had too many trump cards. It was dazzling. If he took out any one of them, the three of them would be defeated. In order to not let the three of them lose too badly, Hulina felt that she had to make some requests. Junior brother, if you want us to fight together, you have to agree to one of our conditions. Hulina's beautiful eyes slightly blinked and softly smiled. What condition? Lu Yuan asked curiously. You can't use the ability of polychoria. It's too powerful. If you use it, even if you win, I won't accept it, Hulina said. Not using polychoria? Lu Yuan's eyes slightly blinked and said, Okay, not only will I not use my polychoria, I won't even use the sea god's divine skill. If you lose, you should accept it wholeheartedly. Really? Hearing this, Chihiro Snow's eyes lit up. When she fought with Lu Yuan, she was defeated by the polychoria and indefinite storm. If Lu Yuan didn't use these two, then even if she was alone, she was confident that she could fight against Lu Yuan. After all, the strength of her martial soul was similar to Lu Yuan's, but her martial soul was one level higher. Even if her cross-level ability was not as good as Lu Yuan's, it shouldn't be a problem to tie. If Hulina and Zhu Zhuqing were added, she felt that her side had at least a 60% chance of winning. Do I finally have a chance to defeat Obuchi again? Chihiro Snow thought to herself, with a trace of excitement in her eyes. Since the Great Soul Arena in Soto City, she had been suppressed by Obuchi. Could it be that she had a chance to turn the tables again today? Of course. Lu Yuan smiled, looking at the excited faces of Chihiro Snow and Hulina, with a trace of playfulness in his eyes. They wouldn't think that he was still the same person, right? With the fifth soul ring, he had already been reborn. It seems that I have a chance to have a wonderful night tonight. Lu Yuan thought to himself. Hulina and Zhu Zhuqing naturally didn't find anything wrong, but Zhu Zhuqing frowned slightly. Her intuition had always been very accurate, and Lu Yuan never did things that he wasn't sure of. She looked at Hulina and Chihiro Snow with a strange look. She always felt that the two of them would be overworked tonight. Since we have agreed, then let's start now, Lu Yuan said softly. Then let's start. Chihiro Snow's golden eyes lit up with a strong fighting spirit. Today was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. She must win against Obuchi again. Hulina also had a smile in her beautiful eyes. Since she was a child, she had always been defeated in front of her junior brother. Her charm ability had no effect on her junior brother. Today, she might have a chance to beat her junior brother. She was very happy in her heart. Even if she was caught by her junior brother and spanked afterwards, she would accept it. As for Zhu Zhuqing, her thoughts were much simpler. She just wanted to show her strength to Lu Yuan and let Lu Yuan know her progress. She wanted to let Lu Yuan know that she didn't let him down. Chapter 478. Lu Yuan took a few steps back and looked at Chihiro Snow and the other two calmly. He was very calm. He was very clear about his current strength. Even if he didn't use his polychoria and see God's divine skill, it wouldn't be too difficult for him to defeat Chihiro Snow and the other two. After all, the soul rings of the Titan giant ape weren't just for show. Furthermore, he had an additional domain now. Chihiro Snow's angel domain wouldn't have any effect on him anymore. However, Chihiro Snow probably didn't think of this at all. Lu Yuan thought to himself. Lu Yuan and Hoi Yuhao were facing each other on this side. Bibidon was not far from them, holding his scepter and watching them. Since Lu Yuan said that he wanted her to see his strength, Bibidon would naturally be there. She also wanted to know how much progress Lu Yuan had made in order to be so confident. That confidence didn't come out of nowhere. It came from his bones. Confidence came from his own strength. Only when he was strong enough could he have the confidence to be fearless. This wasn't something that could be done with just his mouth. Therefore, she wanted to see how strong Lu Yuan was for him to be so confident. Obuchi, it's starting. Hulina smiled at Lu Yuan. She channeled her soul power and instantly possessed her martial soul. Her superb martial soul, the nine-tailed celestial fox, shone brightly. Her ears became pointed and fluffy white fur grew on them. Her 9 white fox tails swayed in the air behind her. Her pink eyes blinked and had a strange charm. Yellow, yellow, purple, purple, and black soul rings rose from her body. Martial soul possession. Zhu Zhuqing shouted softly. Dense black light condensed behind her as the 9 lives cat's martial soul instantly possessed her. Zhu Zhuqing's ears turned into furry cat ears, and a slender black cat tail swayed slightly behind her. Her originally pitch-black lively big eyes, under the state of martial soul possession, became a clear blue like sapphires, pure and containing a faint majesty. Yellow, yellow, purple, black, and black soul rings shone brightly below her body. Angel possession. Qian Renxue also let out a low roar. Instantly, a holy golden light spread, and a mysterious and ancient chant could be heard. Behind Qian Renxue, a beautiful angel with 8 snow-white wings opened her arms slightly. Beneath Qian Renxue, 6 soul rings of yellow, yellow, purple, purple, and black appeared one after another. A powerful aura pressed down in Lu Yuan's direction. Not a bad aura. Lu Yuan laughed softly. He channeled his soul power from the clear air sutra. Bright golden light burst out and a loud dragon roar resounded through the sky. The huge golden dragon behind him flapped its wings slightly. A tyrannical and domineering dragon's aura instantly filled the entire place. It suppressed Chihiro Snow's aura. At the same time, soul rings began to appear on his body one after another. Purple. The first soul ring that appeared was purple. After the system's reward of 5,000 years and the angel god's reward of 500 years, Lu Yuan's first soul ring had increased from 800 years to 6,300 years. Therefore, the first soul ring that appeared was dark purple. Purple. The second soul ring appeared. It was still purple, or more accurately, purplish-black. This meant that this 1,000-year soul ring was extremely close to 10,000 years. Lu Yuan's second soul ring came from the Super Soul Beast, the golden armored dragon turtle. At that time, this golden armored dragon turtle was 3,500 years old. Together with the system's 5,000 years and the angel god's reward of 500 years, this soul ring's age had reached 9,000 years. 9,000 years was extremely close to 10,000 years, so the purple soul ring had a rich black color. Black. The third soul ring appeared. The third soul ring that originally came from a 15,000-year dark golden terraclaw bear had now reached 20,000 years. Black. The fourth soul ring was still black, but different from the third soul ring. This soul ring was as black as ink and deeper. This soul ring was originally a limitless soul ring rewarded by the system. At that time, Lu Yuan had pushed it to 60,000 years. Now it was more than 65,000 years old. After the appearance of the fourth soul ring, a strong pressure began to spread, and a strange red light suddenly appeared under Lu Yuan's body. The red light became denser and denser, and finally, it was completely revealed at a certain moment, forming a red ring. Red. Lu Yuan's fifth soul ring was neither purple nor black, but a demonic blood red. Purple, purple, black, black, and red. 5 soul rings gently rippled under Lu Yuan's body. As soon as these 5 soul rings appeared, Lu Yuan's aura soared in an instant. Not only did he completely suppress Chihiro Snow's aura, the dragon's might that belonged to the golden dragon directly pressed on the 3 of them. This made the 3 of them feel their bodies sink at the same time, and there was a huge pressure on their bodies out of thin air. However, they didn't care about this. Their eyes were focused on the red soul ring under Lu Yuan's body, and their faces were filled with intense shock. 100,000-year soul ring? Chihiro Snow's mouth was slightly open, and her eyes were filled with intense shock. She looked at the smiling Lu Yuan not far away, and felt a little incredulous. Obuchi's 5th soul ring was actually a 100,000-year soul ring. How was this possible? 100,000-year soul ring. Bibidon, who was watching from the side, was also shocked. the graceful and elegant temperament that she had cultivated for many years as the Pope was instantly broken. Her heart was surging with waves. This disciple of hers actually had 100,000-year soul ring. She had been looking for 100,000-year soul ring because she also needed 100,000-year soul ring. It was very important for her divine exam. However, how could 100,000-year soul beast be so easy to find? Even her second martial soul, the soul-devouring Spider Emperor, had several 10,000-year soul rings. Because 100,000-year soul rings were too rare, she had to use 10,000-year soul rings as a substitute. However, this disciple of hers actually had 100,000-year soul ring. Moreover, it was the fifth soul ring. This was simply a subversive existence. 100,000-year fifth soul ring, other than twin martial soul masters who could add a soul ring to their second martial soul, it was impossible for others to have such an opportunity. But now, Lu Yuan had done it. He had achieved an achievement that no soul master on the continent had ever achieved. His first martial soul had reached 100,000-year soul ring. In this aspect, in Bibidan's impression, Lu Yuan was definitely the first person. Looking at Lu Yuan, her eyes couldn't help but have a trace of extraordinary splendor. Her heart was filled with strong pride. This was the disciple that she, Bibidan, had nurtured. He was worthy of being called the strongest genius on the continent, a true genius. In front of him, those so-called geniuses were all overshadowed. This era was destined to belong to him, to her disciple. Chapter 479. Zhu Zhuqing's lips parted slightly when she saw Lu Yuan's blood-red 100,000-year soul ring. She was shocked at first, but then a strong sense of excitement and pride welled up in her heart. Her eyes were also filled with a strong sense of pride. This was Zhu Zhuqing's man. He was definitely a dragon among men. She was very glad that she didn't choose the wrong person. This man would dominate the world sooner or later. Being able to follow by his side and receive his love was definitely the happiest thing in her life. If Chihiro Snow's eyes were filled with shock, and Zhu Zhuqing's eyes were filled with pride, then Hulina's eyes were filled with shock. Then, she sank into deep frustration. We've been tricked by junior brother again. Hulina's red lips curled up slightly. She thought that the three of them would definitely win after she proposed that her junior brother not use his polychoria and that he took the initiative to seal the sea god's divine skill. However, her junior brother did this again. 500,000-year soul rings. How are we going to fight? Hulina's confidence dropped as she thought about it. She thought that they had won back some ground, but she didn't expect to be tricked by her junior brother again. This junior brother is really bad. He has so many tricks up his sleeve. He's just trying to trick his dear senior sister. Her junior brother was already very strong, and now he has 100,000-year soul ring. Even if he doesn't use his sea god's divine skill and polychoria, he's still a little despairing. After all, 100,000-year soul ring was a legendary existence. Who knew how much it could enhance her junior brother? Do I really have to be with Chihiro Snow tonight? Hulina's face flushed red as she thought about it. If it was just her junior brother, then she didn't mind doing whatever she wanted. However, with Chihiro Snow, she was a little shy. Lu Yuan couldn't help but smile as he looked at the three girls with different expressions. He knew that they would be shocked when he revealed his 100,000-year soul ring. When the fifth ring of 100,000-year soul ring appeared, it would definitely be an extremely shocking thing. It's about to start. Lu Yuan opened his right hand. A dazzling golden light condensed in his hand, and the golden dragon's spear appeared. Lu Yuan brandished his spear, and a vigorous fighting spirit spread out from his body. It's starting. Chihiro Snow held the Class 6 angelic holy sword that Lu Yuan had once crafted. He poured his soul power into it, and the holy sword started to burn with golden angelic flames. Hulina, you're in charge of control. Zhu Zhuqing, you're in charge of attacking from the sides. leave the front to me. Chihiro Snow stared intently at Lu Yuan, her expression exceptionally grave. Lu Yuan's 100,000-year soul ring gave her immense pressure. Even Chihiro Snow wasn't sure how strong Lu Yuan was with his 100,000-year soul ring. However, she knew that if the three of them didn't work together, they would definitely lose. She knew Lu Yuan's capabilities better than anyone else. And, after listening to Chihiro Snow's words, the two women nodded and agreed with her arrangement. You've arranged everything, right? Then I'm coming. Lu Yuan smiled. He stomped his foot, and a deep hole appeared in the ground. Lu Yuan flew out of it. Cher, watch out for my spear. Lu Yuan moved and pounced towards Chihiro Snow. To him, Chihiro Snow was his main opponent. Hulina and Zhu Zhuqing were still a little inexperienced. Lu Yuan was extremely quick. His golden dragon spear was as quick as lightning. It carried dense golden light as it stabbed towards Chihiro Snow. Chihiro Snow's third soul ring lit up. Golden light gathered on his Class 6 angelic holy sword and formed a huge sword of light. He slashed it towards Lu Yuan. It was Chihiro Snow's third soul skill, Angelic Light Blade. The golden dragon spear clashed with the angelic light blade. Under Lu Yuan's immense strength, the angelic light blade was shattered into specks of light. Chihiro Snow took this opportunity to distance himself from Lu Yuan. She had sparred with Lu Yuan before. She naturally understood Lu Yuan's strongest close combat abilities. If she fought Lu Yuan in close combat, she would definitely lose. If she wanted to win, she had to distance herself from him first. Qian Renshua retreated as soon as she came into contact with Lu Yuan. Just as Lu Yuan was about to give chase, a black stream of light flashed beside him, and a sharp claw that was condensed with a black glow grabbed at his chest. It turned out that Zhu Zhuqing's attack had arrived. Netherworld's soul-destroying claw? Lu Yuan immediately recognized the soul skill that Zhu Zhuqing was using. It was her second soul skill, Netherworld's soul-destroying claw. Not only did it possess immense offensive strength, but it also had the ability to pierce through armor. If Lu Yuan didn't block it, this attack could really break through his defenses. However, since he had taken it into consideration, it was impossible for her to hurt him. He took a step back and dodged Zhu Zhuqing's attack. His right hand changed direction and grabbed towards Zhu Zhuqing's wrist. With Lu Yuan's current strength, Zhu Zhuqing would basically be out of the game early if he were to grab her. Lu Yuan was very quick. However, Zhu Zhuqing was also a Soul King now. She also had the fastest reaction time, the 9 lives link. Before Lu Yuan's hand grabbed her, Zhu Zhuqing used a strange footwork and dodged Lu Yuan's attack. You've actually used the Phoenix Dance's 6 illusions to this extent. Not bad, Zhu Qing. Lu Yuan had a look of surprise on his face. He didn't use his full strength when he tried to grab her, but Zhu Zhuqing was able to dodge it. This was enough to show that her reaction time and speed were much faster than before. This is a little interesting. The corner of Lu Yuan's mouth curled up slightly. They had just started fighting, but Zhu Zhuqing and the others had already given him a surprise. He was even more interested now. He wanted to see how much these 3 women had improved. Lu Yuan was just about to chase after Zhu Zhuqing when a voice suddenly sounded. He couldn't help but tilt his head to look. "Junior brother, look over here." A soft voice with a tinge of numbness entered his ears. Lu Yuan's eyes turned slightly. He saw Hulina in a seductive pose. She was holding a snow-white foxtail in her jade-like hand. She swayed it gently, and her pink eyes flickered with a strange undulation. There was an indescribable charm emanating from her. "Junior brother, do you think I'm beautiful?" Hulina blinked her beautiful eyes and winked at Lu Yuan. Suddenly, an invisible charm enveloped Lu Yuan. A strange spiritual undulation followed his senses and surged into Lu Yuan's mind. "I think it's all right. It's barely passable." Lu Yuan's eyes were clear. With the clear aura and godly power, Hulina's charm didn't have much of an effect on him. As for why his chi and blood would become restless every time he was with Hulina, it was because he didn't resist at all. Instead, he enjoyed it. However, he was in a battle right now, so he only had to circulate his soul force to completely dispel Hulina's charms. Chapter 480. Barely Passable? Seeing the smile on Lu Yuan's face, and his tone, which sounded like he wasn't very satisfied with her looks, Hulina was furious. Seeing Lu Yuan's smiling face, she really wanted to punch him. This despicable junior brother, he was clearly so infatuated with my body in the morning, but now he's saying that I'm barely passable. Tui, what a heartless junior brother. You don't even recognize me after eating your fill. Hulina pouted her red lips slightly. Seeing that Lu Yuan wasn't affected at all, she knew that her seduction had failed again. Oh my God, how many times has it been? Her seduction had never seemed to have any effect on her junior brother, which made Hulina a little disheartened. Her strongest abilities were her seduction and spiritual control abilities, but her junior brother wasn't affected by them. He was really her nemesis. She still wanted to see her junior brother being bewitched by her one day, but it seemed like it was impossible now. Seeing Hulina's appearance, Lu Yuan couldn't help but find it funny. How could Lu Yuan not know what she was thinking? However, it was impossible for him to be bewitched by her seduction. To him, although it was 1 against 3, it was actually 1 against 2.5. Hulina could only be considered half, and her skills were completely useless against Lu Yuan. Hulina was very strong. Although she was only rank 59, normal soul emperors wouldn't be able to escape from her seduction. It was a pity that she met Lu Yuan, who was almost immune to spiritual skills. Naturally, this was a place where heroes were useless. 4th soul skill, falling golden feathers. Just as Lu Yuan and Hulina were looking at each other, Chihiro Snow took the opportunity to unleash his 5th soul skill, falling golden feathers. This was an area of effect skill. Oh? Cher, you're not obedient. You actually launched a sneak attack. A faint smile appeared on Lu Yuan's face at the sight of the countless golden feather blades in the sky. He waved his golden dragon spear through the air, and streams of water formed a massive golden vortex that shielded Lu Yuan's body. Powerful engulfment power erupted forth, engulfing all of the golden feather blades in the sky. This is... In midair, Chihiro Snow had a look of shock on his face. It was another move that he had never seen before. Self-created soul skill, spear technique. Whirlpool. My 3rd self-created spear technique. Seeing the shock on Chihiro Snow's face, Lu Yuan laughed softly. Spear art. Vast ocean. Spear art, meteor. Lu Yuan finally created the 3rd spear art, vortex. Different from spear technique. Vast ocean and spear technique. Meteor, whirlpool was a defensive spear technique. Its effect was to neutralize attacks and swallow them. After spending a year in the Great Star Dough Forest, aside from comprehending the Great Void Dragon, his other masterpiece was Whirlpool. It was because he had spent a lot of effort on his self-created soul skill. Otherwise, how could he have only risen by 2 ranks in a place like the core area, where spiritual energy was abundant? Wasn't it because he had spent a lot of time on his self-created soul skill during the day and hugged Guyuna to sleep at night? If he had put all his effort into cultivating, he would have been rank 59 by now, the same rank as Hulina. Spear technique, whirlpool? Another self-created spear technique? Chihiro Snow had a look of amazement on his face. He looked at Lu Yuan with eyes full of praise and admiration. This man is truly a genius. Other people who had created a self-created soul skill were considered top-notch geniuses. But in his hands, it was as if it was at his fingertip. He really is worthy of being my man. Chihiro Snow's lips couldn't help but curl into a smile. His heart was filled with joy. It seemed that being able to meet Obuchi in this life was really not bad. Chihiro Snow thought to himself. Spear technique, whirlpool? Not far away, Bibidon, who was quietly watching Lu Yuan and the others, couldn't help but smile. His disciple really didn't seem like an ordinary person. His talent in self-created soul skills was really too shocking. At such a young age, one self-created soul skill after another was simply endless. However, these were all his own talent. Speaking of which, Bibidon was ashamed. As a teacher, he really didn't teach him much. His disciple could basically be considered a self-taught genius. Bibidon was a little disappointed when he thought of this. His disciple was too outstanding. As a teacher, he was also very helpless. This was because there was basically nothing he could teach him. After today, I'll give Obuchi a surprise tomorrow. This is the only thing I can give him as a teacher. Bibidon's eyes were filled with love and concern as she looked at Lu Yuan, who was standing not far away. This disciple could be said to be her treasure. In her heart, he was even more important than Hulina and Chihiro Snow. That position would be Obuchi's sooner or later. So now I'll let Obuchi take another step forward. Bibidon thought to herself. Lu Yuan held the golden dragon spear in his hand. There was a smile on his face, and his expression was very relaxed. To him, this wasn't a battle, but a game. In the first 2 minutes, he easily dispelled the 3 girls' attack. If you have any other skills, use them. Otherwise, this battle will be over soon. Lu Yuan smiled as he held the golden dragon spear gently. Hearing this, the 3 girls looked at each other at the same time. After that, they nodded at each other. Second soul skill, Void Wings. Chihiro Snow's second soul ring lit up. Void Wings gave him immunity to physical attacks, immunity to 50% of energy attacks, and a 30% increase in speed. After unleashing his second soul skill, Chihiro Snow held his Class 6 Holy Sword and slashed it towards Lu Yuan. On the other side, Zhu Zhuqing's figure appeared. Her third soul ring lit up, and her body split into 6. Third soul skill, Nether Shadow Doppelganger. Hulina wagged her foxtail and used her charm skill on Lu Yuan. Even if her charm skill was ineffective against Lu Yuan, she could still harass him. This was also why Lu Yuan counted Hulina as half of his soul skills. 6 black figures surrounded Lu Yuan. Zhu Zhuqing's figure turned into a series of afterimages. This was a result of her speed reaching a certain level. Right now, Zhu Zhuqing's Phoenix Dance's 6 illusory illusions had reached an advanced stage. In addition to her third soul skill, Nether Shadow Doppelganger, her speed had reached a new height. Coupled with her Netherworld soul-breaking claw, her strength was extraordinary. Figures appeared around Lu Yuan one after another. Their sharp claws swept towards Lu Yuan continuously. However, Lu Yuan's feet moved slightly. His figure was exceptionally slippery, and he managed to dodge Zhu Zhuqing's attack every time. Another claw shadow appeared. Lu Yuan tilted his body slightly and dodged it. At this moment, a scorching golden sword slashed down towards Lu Yuan. It was Chihiro Snow's attack. Chapter 481. Heh! Lu Yuan chuckled as he abruptly thrust his golden dragon spear forward, clashing head-on with the oncoming giant sword. Bam! A massive energy shockwave rippled through the air. Lu Yuan remained completely unmoved, but Chihiro Snow was sent flying backward. Not only did Lu Yuan's spear strike contain Lu Yuan's immense strength, but it also contained the power of spear intent. Otherwise, Chihiro Snow wouldn't have been sent flying in his incorporeal state. Of course, Lu Yuan had already held back. Even though Chihiro Snow was sent flying backward, he wasn't injured at all. After all, Chihiro Snow was his favorite, and even the slightest injury would make his heart ache for a long time. If it had been Zhu Zhuqing or Hulina instead, it would have been the same. He had quite a lot of treasures in his heart. Chihiro Snow was sent flying backward, and Zhu Zhuqing's claws took advantage of the moment when Lu Yuan and Chihiro Snow were clashing to grab Lu Yuan's body. Her sharp claws clashed with Lu Yuan's protective scales, sending sparks flying. Immediately afterward, Zhu Zhuqing's claws glowed with a faint light, and she was actually able to break through Lu Yuan's scales before grabbing directly at Lu Yuan's flesh. Right at this moment, a large, powerful hand grabbed Zhu Zhuqing's wrist. An incomparably powerful force was transmitted from the large hand, and Zhu Zhuqing's claws, which had already broken through the scales, were instantly unable to advance any further. "Little kitty, you've also learned how to launch sneak attacks?" He flicked his finger at Zhu Zhuqing's forehead, and a red mark immediately appeared on her forehead. After being rewarded by Lu Yuan with a flick of his finger, Zhu Zhuqing scrunched up her pitiful little face, and she looked at Lu Yuan with a hint of resentment in her eyes. "I'm an agility-type soul master, and finding opportunities to launch sneak attacks has always been a type of tactic." Looking at Zhu Zhuqing's innocent look, Lu Yuan found it funny. Zhu Zhuqing was really cute like this. Pinching Zhu Zhuqing's cheeks, Lu Yuan gently pulled his right hand and held Zhu Zhuqing's jade-like hand in his. After being caught by Lu Yuan, how could Zhu Zhuqing struggle? She could only stare at Lu Yuan. She had yet to fully display her strength. If she were to go on stage now, she was somewhat unwilling. Seeing Zhu Zhuqing's expression, Lu Yuan gently pushed her away and smiled. "Not a bad tactic and sneak attack, but your sneak attack speed is still a bit slow. Come again, let me see your true strength." Lu Yuan's golden dragon spear began to radiate golden light, and a burst of powerful aura abruptly erupted forth as he activated his golden dragon bloodline. Feeling the surging bloodline power in his body, Lu Yuan nodded slightly. His vitality was really getting stronger. "It seems like I can find an opportunity to form my blood essence soul core. With it, I'll be able to use my vitality better." Lu Yuan thought to himself. Once his golden dragon bloodline appeared, the golden dragon's aura instantly filled the entire arena. Lu Yuan's body flashed with golden light, and his golden dragon armor immediately appeared on his body. The dazzling golden armor was paired with fiery red and icy blue cloud patterns, and a blood-red cloak appeared behind the armor, making it appear even more majestic. With his golden armor and blood-red cloak, and the golden dragon spear in his hand, Lu Yuan looked like a god of war right now. When he encountered the Blood Emperor, Lu Yuan's golden dragon battle armor had been smashed to pieces. After the Titan giant ape's sacrifice, not only had the golden dragon battle armor recovered completely, it had even undergone a transformation. The golden dragon armor, which was originally only 5,000 kilograms, doubled in weight to 20,000 kilograms. At the same time, its defensive capabilities were also greatly increased. A blood-red cloak formed from energy grew behind the armor. This cloak wasn't just a decoration. Its defensive capabilities were also very good. It was also immune to water, fire, and poison. Once the golden dragon armor appeared, Lu Yuan's aura suddenly increased by a lot. His eyes were sharp as he swept his gaze across the three of them. "I was just warming up earlier and I didn't even use my soul skills. However, I won't hold back anymore. Stop hiding and show me what you've got. Share, stop hiding your angelic domain and your 5 or 6 soul skills. Zhuqing, you can use your 4th and 5th soul skills too. Senior sister, too." Lu Yuan's gaze turned to Hulina. "Don't just wave your tail around. Bewitchment doesn't work on me. You can use your soul bone skills now. Aren't you embarrassed that you've been slacking off earlier? Don't think that I'm joking. If you lose, you and Cher won't be able to escape tonight. When that happens, I don't care if you're embarrassed or not," Lu Yuan said plainly. When they heard this, Chihiro Snow and Hulina almost snorted at the same time. However, their gazes immediately turned serious. Since Lu Yuan had said this, they had to give it their all. It didn't matter if they lost to Lu Yuan. After all, something like that would happen sooner or later. However, if they lost too badly, it wouldn't be right. After all, they were 3 against 1. If they lost too badly, Lu Yuan would be very disappointed. He wanted to see the improvement of their strength. When he saw their gazes, Lu Yuan smiled knowingly. This was the effect he wanted. Second soul skill, Golden Dragon War Body. Lu Yuan's purplish-black second soul ring suddenly shone. Golden Dragon War Body increased his defense by 200% and made him immune to all control-type skills. When paired with the Golden Dragon Armor and Golden Dragon War Body, it meant one thing. Lu Yuan was going to be reckless. He was going to use his true strength. Dragon Swimming Footwork. With a strange footwork, Lu Yuan's body was like a swimming dragon as he pounced towards Chihiro Snow. At this moment, he was only using the simple footwork of the Great Void Dragon. The Great Void Dragon was a soul skill that he had created 5 years ago. It combined exquisite footwork and powerful attack power into one, allowing him to transform into a divine dragon to fight his enemies. Its power was astonishing. Although he couldn't unleash the full power of the dragon swimming Great Void in his human form, he could still use its footwork. The dragon swimming footwork was exquisite and profound. It was even better than the Phoenix Dance's 6 illusions. Lu Yuan arrived in front of Chihiro Snow in an instant, giving her a fright. However, Qian Rinxue wasn't an ordinary person after all. She recovered her state of mind almost instantaneously. A golden ray of light appeared under her feet. Then, it rapidly spread out, and formed a golden domain that completely enveloped the 4 of them. This was the innate domain of the 6-winged angel, the angel domain. After Chihiro Snow's martial soul evolved into an 8-winged angel, the domain's power had become even stronger. The golden domain enveloped Lu Yuan. Boundless purifying power began to invade Lu Yuan from all directions. It wanted to consume Lu Yuan's soul power. At the same time, a powerful invisible force spread towards Lu Yuan, trying to imprison Lu Yuan's body. Chihiro Snow held the angelic holy sword. Instead of retreating, he advanced. The sword was condensed with the power of holy and fire. He slashed it towards Lu Yuan's body. Chapter 482. Is this the angelic domain? Feeling the faint binding force around his body, Lu Yuan knew that it was the power of the angel's domain, which could forcibly imprison people in place and make them unable to move. Even with his teleportation skill, he could only take a single step in the angelic domain before he would be dragged back to his original position by the restrictive power of the domain. It could be said that the angelic domain was an extremely powerful domain. However, it was ineffective against Lu Yuan. With a slight tremor, Lu Yuan's body emitted a dazzling golden light, and the faintly discernible binding force instantly disappeared without a trace. His Golden Dragon War Body increased his defensive power by 200%, and he was immune to all control-type skills. It could be said that this was a divine skill. Among all of Lu Yuan's current skills, even his Titan Giant Ape Soul skills couldn't compare to his Golden Dragon War Body. This was because this skill was simply too unreasonable. As long as he was immune to all control-type skills, Lu Yuan could be said to be a control-type Soul Master killer. Any control-type Soul Master who encountered him was doomed to die. Lu Yuan raised his Golden Dragon Spear and charged toward Chihiro Snow. Bam! The Golden Dragon Spear clashed violently with the Holy Sword. Within the angelic domain, Chihiro Snow's power had increased significantly, while all of Lu Yuan's attributes had decreased to a certain extent. In addition, the omnipresent power of evolution was whittling away at Lu Yuan's soul power, so even though it was very difficult for Chihiro Snow to withstand Lu Yuan's attacks, he was still able to just barely hold on. Lu Yuan couldn't help but nod at the sight of Chihiro Snow, who was doing his best to resist his attacks. As expected, Chihiro Snow was the most powerful of the 3 of them. One had to realize that even though he wasn't using his full strength like he had said, Each of his spear strikes carried around 80,000 to 90,000 kilograms of force. Even so, Chihiro Snow was still able to just barely withstand his attack. This made Lu Yuan quite happy. His shui had improved quite a bit. Lu Yuan thrust his golden dragon spear forward again, and the sound of surging waves rang out as he unleashed his spear technique. Vast ocean. Chihiro Snow's holy sword burned with golden flames as she unleashed her third soul skill, Angelic Light Blade. Bam! The angelic light blade was destroyed, and Chihiro Snow was forced back 7 or 8 steps. She shook her slightly numb hands. This man really was very powerful. Even within the angelic domain, she was still being dominated by him. Furthermore, from the looks of it, he definitely wasn't using his full strength. Chihiro Snow's light blade. She didn't want to use her angelic domain. Instead, she wanted to use her angelic domain's purifying power as long as possible to Lu Yuan's light blade technique. When Lu Yuan's soul power ran low, he would explode with power and defeat Lu Yuan. Qian Renxue was never a rash person. She had her own considerations when it came to battles. Don't just stand there, Cher. Lu Yuan advanced once again upon seeing Chihiro Snow being forced back. His golden dragon spear was imbued with Lu Yuan's immense strength, and even though it appeared to be quite ordinary, it was imbued with immense power. Chihiro Snow's lips twitched slightly at the sight of Lu Yuan charging toward her again. This guy really was determined to attack her, and he wasn't even giving her a chance to catch her breath. Why didn't he go after Zhu Zhuqing and Hu Lina instead? Chihiro Snow thought to herself. However, right at this moment, Lu Yuan's attack came hurtling toward her again. Chihiro Snow could only raise her holy sword to parry Lu Yuan's attack. Lu Yuan's spear pressed down on Chihiro Snow's holy sword. He exerted a little force, and Chihiro Snow immediately fell to one knee. She gritted her teeth and gripped the hilt of her sword tightly. The veins on her arms bulged as she exerted so much force that they were bulging. Even so, her body was still bent over slightly under the pressure of Lu Yuan's golden dragon spear. Do you admit defeat, Cher? Lu Yuan held his golden dragon spear with one hand, and he wore a relaxed expression as he looked down at Chihiro Snow, who was struggling bitterly. Even though his angelic domain had depleted his soul power, he was still able to suppress Qian Renxue with a gravity of more than 50,000 kilograms just by relying on his blood energy. I don't admit defeat. Chihiro Snow was furious as she looked at Lu Yuan's faint smile. This guy's handsome face was detestable no matter how she looked at it. He actually forced her to kneel on one knee, and she was in such a sorry state. If she was alone, she wouldn't have minded it. However, Hulina and Zhu Zhuqing were watching. With Chihiro Snow's stubbornness, how could she take this lying down? Therefore, even though she couldn't hold on any longer, she refused to admit defeat. You don't admit defeat? Lu Yuan smiled faintly as he looked at Chihiro Snow, who was gritting her teeth and whose eyes were burning with golden flames. He moved his right hand slightly and was about to exert more force. All of a sudden, Lu Yuan felt a sense of danger. He moved his feet and moved slightly to the side. A black figure suddenly flashed in front of him. Its sharp claws scratched the golden dragon armor, creating a burst of sparks. Good job, Zhuqing. I almost forgot about you. Lu Yuan couldn't help but smile faintly as he looked at Zhu Zhuqing, who had suddenly appeared in front of him. This was Zhu Zhuqing's fourth soul skill, Dark Night Invasion. It could conceal her body and make her immune to physical attacks and energy attacks by 50%. It was definitely a very powerful skill. As Lu Yuan was fighting Chihiro Snow, and Zhu Zhuqing's soul skill could conceal her body, he didn't realize that Zhu Zhuqing had already snuck up to him. If he hadn't felt a sense of danger and turned his body slightly, that attack might not have landed on his golden dragon armor, but on his head. Zhu Zhuqing, this girl, was really a little vicious when it came to fighting. Originally, this situation wasn't very serious. However, not long after this battle began, he realized that Zhu Zhuqing's fighting style had changed quite a bit. She must have learned this from the ghost Douluo over the past year. After all, the ghost Douluo was very sinister, and he liked to sneak up on people from behind. It was normal for Zhu Zhuqing to be influenced by him and learn these things. Where's senior sister? Don't tell me you're hiding and preparing to ambush me too? Lu Yuan scanned his surroundings. His angelic domain was filled with golden light. If he had Chihiro Snow to help him, it wouldn't be difficult for him to conceal everyone. However, Lu Yuan couldn't use his polychoria now. He couldn't see Hulina's figure just by looking with his eyes. Junior brother, you're right. Hulina's voice suddenly rang out. Her 9 snow-white fox tails elongated abruptly and shot towards Lu Yuan in an all-encompassing manner. Junior brother, have a taste of my 6th soul skill, Heavenly Fox Bind, Hulina said softly. It's not a spiritual type attack? A look of astonishment flashed across Lu Yuan's eyes when he saw the 9 snow-white fox tails surging towards him. It was actually a control-type soul skill unleashed by the foxtails, and not a pure spiritual type attack. This was rather interesting. Chapter 483. However, she clearly knew that he was immune to control-type soul skills, yet she still used them. What was this senior sister thinking? Lu Yuan couldn't understand Hulina's actions. Others might not understand him, but how could Hulina not understand him? Which part of him didn't Hulina understand? I think I said something wrong. Lu Yuan returned to his senses. Hulina probably knew all 4 of his soul skills like the back of her hand, except for the effect of his 5th soul ring. He had already used his golden dragon war body, but this senior sister was still using a control-type soul skill. He really couldn't understand. 9 long fox tails lashed out at Lu Yuan in a frenzy. Lu Yuan's body was covered with a layer of golden light as he activated his golden dragon war body. The fox tails were all repelled when they came into contact with this layer of golden light. Senior sister, you clearly know that I'm immune to control-type soul skills, yet you still. Lu Yuan smiled faintly as he looked at the fox tails that were repelled. However, before he could finish his sentence, a fox tail suddenly enlarged by 3 to 4 times and directly slapped Lu Yuan's body. Lu Yuan was directly sent flying. Now, Hulina's eyes lit up when she saw Lu Yuan being sent flying. She shouted, and Chihiro Snow and Zhu Zhuqing's figures suddenly appeared. 5th soul skill, Holy Sword. Chihiro Snow shouted in a low voice. The Class 6 soul tool in his hand, the Holy Sword, emitted dense golden flames. His 5th soul ring lit up, and another golden holy sword appeared and fused with the holy sword in his hand. This was Chihiro Snow's strongest single-target skill. It could be called the double holy sword. Chihiro Snow held the enormous holy sword. The wings on his back flapped, and the enormous holy sword, which was 7 to 8 meters long, directly slashed towards Lu Yuan. F*CK, Cher, are you trying to kill me? Seeing Chihiro Snow's 7 to 8 meter long golden greatsword, the corner of Lu Yuan's eyes couldn't help but twitch. However, he was currently sent flying and couldn't move for a moment. The angel's sacred sword was also fast, so he could only watch as it ruthlessly slashed his body. Thankfully, he was wearing his golden dragon battle armor and had activated his golden dragon battle body, so even though Cher's attack was powerful, he should be fine. Bang! The golden angelic sword struck Lu Yuan, and the holy power and purification power drilled into Lu Yuan's body. The golden flames seemed to want to burn Lu Yuan's body. Lu Yuan's face turned pale after receiving such a heavy blow, and he was sent flying again. Right at this moment, Zhu Zhuqing's figure suddenly appeared. Her clear blue eyes suddenly lit up, and the 5th soul ring on her body emitted a dense black light. 5th soul skill, Nethermoon 9 Lives Slash. The Nethermoon 9 Lives Slash came from a 25,000-year-old Nethermoon mysterious cat, The Nethermoon Mysterious Cat was a top-tier soul beast on the same level as the Netherworld Purple Civet, and it had given Zhu Zhuqing this soul skill. The Nethermoon 9 Lives / was a very good skill. It increased speed by 50% and attack power by 200%. With Zhu Zhuqing's current soul power, this move was enough to seriously injure a soul emperor if it hit. Zhuqing, you're here too, right? Lu Yuan's face turned pale. Although Chihiro Snow's attack didn't break through the dual defenses of his Golden Dragon battle armor and Golden Dragon battle body, the power of the sword still caused him some light injuries. His current defensive power was not as good as before. These women of mine are really taking advantage of the opportunity to beat him to death. Are they not afraid of killing me? Light blue light gathered on Zhu Zhuqing's body, and a 3-meter-long blue crescent-shaped energy blade appeared. Zhu Zhuqing directly threw it, and the crescent-shaped energy blade slashed towards Lu Yuan. Seeing the extremely fast energy blade, Lu Yuan could only tilt his body slightly, and the energy blade slashed Lu Yuan's red cloak. Immediately, Lu Yuan's body flew back even faster, and he crashed into the angel domain. A burst of golden light erupted, blocking the vision of the three women. We should have one, right? Hulina said softly with a trace of uncertainty in her voice. I'm afraid so, not yet. Chihiro Snow shook his head slightly, and a trace of seriousness appeared in his eyes. If Obuchi lost so easily, he wouldn't be Obuchi. Definitely not. Zhu Zhuqing's figure quietly landed, and her beautiful face was calm. Not to mention losing, even if he was injured, I'm afraid it wouldn't be much. Zhu Zhuqing said softly. Then why are you still so calm? Hulina asked with some doubt. It's not like we have to win this battle. We just have to show him our strength and let him see if we've improved. We've already shown that just now, so it doesn't matter even if we lose. Anyway, even if we lose, it doesn't have much to do with me. Zhu Zhuqing muttered softly. Hearing this, Chihiro Snow and Hulina's mouth twitched at the same time. If we lose, it doesn't have much to do with you, but it has a lot to do with us. If we lose, we have to be together. Just thinking about it made them feel a little embarrassed. Then what should we do next? Hulina asked. Hearing this, Chihiro Snow's beautiful eyes blinked, and said in a calm tone, Next, prepare to be beaten up. None of us can escape. You may be beaten the most miserably because you are the one who set him up. TSK, so be it. It's not like I haven't been beaten before. Hulina slightly curled her lips and said indifferently. Junior brother had beaten her but more than once, and this time, Chihiro Snow and Zhu Zhuqing were with her. She didn't panic at all, and even wanted to laugh a little. In the past, she was the one who was beaten. Today, at least she could see the two of them being beaten. Hearing this, Zhu Zhuqing and Chihiro Snow couldn't help but feel speechless. What else could they say? There was actually someone who didn't care about being beaten. Hulina was really something. Golden light flashed, and Lu Yuan's figure stepped forward step by step. His face was ruddy, and his armor was still shining, as if he wasn't injured at all. You guys had a good chat. Looking at the three girls opposite him, Lu Yuan said indifferently. Just now, after taking Chihiro Snow's dual sacred swords and Zhu Zhuqing's Silent Moon 9 Lives / he was indeed injured. However, he had the secret character, and those light injuries were completely healed in an instant. Senior sister, that foxtail of yours just now was an external soul bone, right? Why didn't I know about it? Looking at Hulina, Lu Yuan's eyes were filled with a trace of curiosity. In the original work, Hulina did indeed have a foxtail external soul bone. However, after he came in this life, Hulina's path had changed quite a bit. Therefore, he wasn't sure if Hulina still had that external soul bone. However, looking at today's situation, she still had it. In this way, adding the 2 soul bones that he gave her, Hulina now had 3 soul bones, which was catching up to him. Looks like the next time I have a soul bone, I should give it to Zhuqing. Lu Yuan thought to himself. Chapter 484. How come you don't know? Of course you don't know. You've only been with me for a few days, Hulina said softly with a trace of bitterness on her charming face. Hearing this, Lu Yuan's face couldn't help but reveal a trace of embarrassment. Indeed, the time he spent with Hulina could be considered the shortest. Even Gu Yuna spent more time with her than her. At the very least, he and Gu Yuna could be considered to have spent a year alone together. However, with Hulina, he spent more time with her than with her. Before their relationship was confirmed, he did spend a lot of time with Hulina. However, after their relationship was confirmed, he was always outside and didn't spend much time with Hulina. What? Not talking? Seeing Lu Yuan's speechless appearance, Hulina's imposing manner rose instead. You've been with your Na for more than a year. How could you still remember this senior sister of yours? Hulina's tone was sour, especially emphasizing the two words na. Speaking of which, this was the first time she showed her jealousy in front of Lu Yuan. She had always been very obedient, but in her heart, she really couldn't take the name Nar to heart. In her opinion, this name should belong to her. In the end, it was snatched away by Gu Yuna. How could senior sister be as intimate as Nar? She also wanted to be called Na by her junior brother. Hateful junior brother. He had no conscience and didn't care about her at all. Although she was very happy that her junior brother had given her a 90,000-year-old torso bone, giving the name Nar to someone else made her feel uncomfortable. She, Hulina, didn't want much. She couldn't let the name that belonged to her be taken away by someone else. Under the resentment in her heart, her attitude was completely out of character. She actually put on a rare display of arrogance in front of Lu Yuan. Hearing Hulina's words, Chihiro Snow and Zhu Zhuqing's faces couldn't help but twitch. Especially Chihiro Snow's face revealed a trace of strangeness. So this Hulina is still fussing about this name? Seriously, this woman's way of thinking was indeed different from others. At most, she and Zhu Zhuqing were jealous of Lu Yuan for accompanying Gu Yuna for a year. However, she wasn't the same. She didn't have much opinion about Lu Yuan spending a year with Gu Yuna. Instead, she was particularly concerned about how Gu Yuna was addressed. Wasn't it just a name? Was it that important? Anyway, Chihiro Snow didn't understand. Whether Obuchi called her Xiao Shui or Cher, she didn't care. It was just a name. As long as Obuchi loved her, it was fine. Moreover, among Obuchi's 4 women, you're the only one who's his senior sister. Isn't that special enough? Chihiro Snow thought to himself. Looking at the imposing Hulina at this moment, Lu Yuan couldn't help but blink. Damn, this was the first time he saw his senior sister being so jealous. To be honest, it was a little strange. Was this still the senior sister who begged for mercy in the morning? Seeing Lu Yuan blinking at her without saying a word, Hulina couldn't help but snort again. How is it, stinky junior brother? Are you speechless? You heartless little thief. Heartless little thief? Lu Yuan was slightly speechless. Even if she was jealous, she didn't have to say that. It wasn't like he didn't want to accompany her on purpose. Wasn't it because he didn't have time? Putting aside the life spiritual crystal, how could he give away the illusion skull, yearning heartbroken red, and 1,000-kilogram ant emperor torso bone? Even Cher didn't have so many things. How could you say that you're heartless? Lu Yuan wondered if he should have a good conversation with his dear senior sister. Senior sister, I realize that your temper seems to have gotten a little worse. Do you need me to help you treat it? Lu Yuan's eyes flickered slightly as he said softly. Treat it then. If you have the ability, come and hit me? Hulina tilted her head and said coquettishly. Hearing Hulina's words, Zhu Zhuqing and Chihiro Snow couldn't help but move a little further away from her. This was really King awesome. She took the initiative to ask for a beating. The two of them had never seen such a thing before. Was Hulina crazy looking for death today? However, they didn't know that Hulina was in a bad mood now. She didn't care about this and said these words almost without thinking. She was talking without thinking. Now, she was only concerned about venting her anger. How could she care about the consequences of her words? A strange smile appeared on Lu Yuan's face when he heard this. Senior sister, this is the first time I've heard of such a request. If I don't satisfy you, then it really is my fault. Golden light flashed in Lu Yuan's hand, and his golden dragon spear disappeared without a trace. He then unleashed his dragon roaming movement technique, and his body quickly disappeared. Hulina had only just turned around when Lu Yuan appeared in front of her. At the sight of the astonished Hulina, Lu Yuan opened his right hand and directly grabbed toward Hulina. Hulina was startled, and she hurriedly stepped back using her phoenix dances of the 6 illusions. At the same time, her 9 tails shot toward Lu Yuan at the same time. You're still using this move? It's useless. Golden light flashed, and the fox tails were directly sent flying upon contact. Control-type skills were ineffective against Lu Yuan. Suddenly, Lu Yuan's right hand made a grabbing motion, and an exceptionally thick foxtail was caught in Lu Yuan's hand. Every single strand of fox fur on the tail wasn't soft. Instead, they were as sharp as steel needles. This was Hulina's soul bone attached to her foxtail. I already know, and you still want to ambush me? Come back. Lu Yuan's right hand exerted force, and he directly pulled Hulina back. After all, how could Hulina's small body break free from Lu Yuan's immense strength? Lu Yuan grabbed Hulina's foxtail with one hand, and directly grabbed toward Hulina's shoulder with the other. Thousand Catty Barrier. Seeing that Lu Yuan's other hand was grabbing toward her, Hulina immediately activated the Thousand Catty Ant Queen's torso bone skill. This skill could form a brownish-yellow barrier in front of the user, and it had 3 times the defensive strength of the user's body. Furthermore, it could reflect attacks to a certain extent, and could be said to be quite useful. Haha, the Thousand Catty Ant Queen's soul bone skill? Seeing this brownish-yellow barrier, Lu Yuan didn't retract his hand. Instead, he clenched his fist and punched it. Bang! Lu Yuan didn't restrain his strength at all, and the Thousand Catty Barrier was directly shattered into pieces by Lu Yuan's immense strength, which exceeded 50,000 catties. This seemingly sturdy defensive barrier was extremely weak under Lu Yuan's immense strength. At the same time, Lu Yuan's fist turned into a claw, and he directly grabbed Hulina's shoulder. With a gentle tug, he pulled Hulina into his embrace. His left hand let go of the foxtail, and he hugged Hulina's body. With a wave of his right hand, he pushed the foxtail to the side, opened his 5 fingers slightly, and directly slapped Hulina's perky buttocks. Suddenly, a smacking sound was heard. Chapter 485. Smack! A loud sound was heard. Instantly, the other 3 people in the angel domain were shocked except for Lu Yuan. Qian Renxue and Zhu Zhuqing's faces couldn't help but twitch at the same time. As expected, Hulina was punished. She was really asking for it. She even said something like, "Hit me if you can." Wasn't she asking for a beating? Did she think that Obuchi would go easy on her? After hearing such words, it would be strange if he didn't beat her up. Hulina was the same. When the slap fell, she suddenly woke up from that state of resentment. Thinking of what she had said, she couldn't help but want to slap herself twice. Who told you to be so cheap? You're dead for sure this time. She was really going to die. Her butt was probably going to be swollen. No, I have to admit defeat quickly. Hulina's thoughts turned. Just as she was about to beg for mercy, another slap landed. Ah! Her butt was slapped again. Hulina couldn't help but cry out. Her beautiful face flushed red. On one hand, it was because she was shy. On the other hand, it really hurt a little. Junior brother, I was wrong. Please forgive senior sister. Hulina hurriedly said with a hint of pleading in her voice. You were wrong? I really couldn't tell. Lu Yuan said indifferently and slapped her with his right hand. Junior brother, I was really wrong. Can you spare your senior sister? Hulaina's tone carried a trace of grievance as she spoke pitifully. Not good, Lu Yuan said indifferently and slapped her again. Junior brother. Smack. Dear junior brother. Smack. Junior brother, I won't dare to do it again. Smack. Qian Rinxuan Zhu Zhuqing couldn't bear to continue watching as they listened to the slapping sounds and Hulaina's sobbing pleas for mercy. This was really tragic. You were courting death just now. Now you're punished. Junior brother, boo-hoo. Hulina's big eyes were filled with tears as she whimpered. Do you still dare to spout such nonsense? Lu Yuan stopped his palm and asked softly. I don't dare, I don't dare. Hulina hurriedly said. Then am I still a heartless thief? Lu Yuan continued to ask. No, no, junior brother, you're the best. Hulina said. Then do you still dare to be jealous? Lu Yuan asked. I'm not jealous, I'm not jealous. Hulina's voice. No, you can still be jealous. Lu Yuan helped Hulaina up with a smile on his face. He gently wiped away the tears on Hulaina's face and said, You're right about one thing. I haven't spent enough time with you, so I'll stay for 2 more months in Martial Spirit City to accompany you. Really? Junior brother? Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Hulina's mood immediately brightened up. Apart from the fact that her name was stolen, she also hoped that Lu Yuan could accompany her. It's true. Although I've been busy all these years, I've indeed neglected you. It's normal for you to be resentful. So, I'll take some time to accompany you. Lu Yuan said softly. Then why did you hit me? Hulina asked. Because you're asking for it. I saw that your foxtail was about to reach the sky. Hit me if you dare? If I didn't hit you, wouldn't it show that I'm not capable? Lu Yuan said indifferently. Hearing this, Hulaina blushed and lowered her head slightly. Rubbing Hulina's head, Lu Yuan said with a smile, Your matter is over. I'm going to deal with those 2 women. It's fine if they hit me so hard. Anyway, my skin is thick and can't be broken. But they didn't come to help when they saw you being hit. No matter what, you're sisters. They didn't even try to persuade you and just stood aside to watch the show. Those 2 women are asking for a beating. Hearing this, Hulaina's eyes suddenly burst with a strong color. They were going to be beaten too? This couldn't be any better. Who told you to hide and watch the show? You didn't expect to make junior brother angry, right? It's your turn to get your butt swollen. Hulina snickered in her heart. It should be interesting to watch them get beaten. Patting Hulina's little head again, Lu Yuan stood up and looked at the 2 women who were panicking not far away. They had heard the conversation just now. Oh, it seems that if I want to catch the 2 of you, I'll have to break this domain first. This purifying power is a little annoying. Lu Yuan said indifferently. Chihiro Snow had a bad premonition. Obuchi said this. Could it be? Golden Dragon Domain. Lu Yuan shouted. A brilliant golden light that was different from the angel domain surged from beneath his feet. The brilliant golden light instantly spread and collided with Chihiro Snow's angel domain. Not good. Chihiro Snow's expression changed slightly. Lu Yuan's golden dragon domain was powerful and domineering. It was already clashing fiercely with her angel domain. She could feel that her angel domain was on the verge of collapse, as if it were about to shatter. Immediately, she hurriedly urged her soul power to maintain her angel domain. Otherwise, if her angel domain was broken, they would really be like meat on a chopping board. They would be at the mercy of Lu Yuan. The purifying power is constantly draining Obuchi's soul power, so Obuchi's soul power is definitely not as abundant as mine. As long as I can hold on for a while, Obuchi's soul power will be depleted soon, and he won't be able to break my angel domain. Chihiro Snow thought to herself. Oh, it seems like a simple golden dragon domain can't do anything to you, Cher. Lu Yuan chuckled. Then let's stop fighting. Anyway, we've already displayed our strength. How about we call it a draw? Chihiro Snow suggested. If they continued fighting, they would definitely lose, so she wanted to quit while she was ahead. Stop fighting now? Dream on, Cher. I've already said that I'm going to beat the two of you up today. You want to run? Not going to happen, Lu Yuan said indifferently. Everyone says that 100,000-year soul rings are powerful. You probably haven't seen how powerful a 100,000-year soul skill is. Today I'll open your eyes, Lu Yuan said softly. Hearing this, Chihiro Snow's and Zhu Zhuqing's expressions suddenly changed. Fifth soul skill, gravity domain. The 100,000-year soul ring on Lu Yuan's fifth soul ring blossomed with a demonic red light, and a pitch-black aura suddenly spread out. Golden Dragon Domain, Gravity Domain, fuse for me. Lu Yuan let out a low growl, and the Golden Dragon Domain began to quickly merge with the Gravity Domain. The two domains that were originally bright gold and black became a brand new dark gold domain. Golden Dragon Mystic Heavy Domain, go! The dark gold domain swept across the entire place, and destroyed Chihiro Snow's Angel Domain. Then, it wrapped the two girls in the new Golden Dragon Mystic Heavy Domain. Looking at the two girls who were a little panicked, Lu Yuan smiled faintly. Now we can finally have a good exchange. Chapter 486. Looking at the slightly panicked Qian Renxue and Zhu Zhuqing, the corners of Lu Yuan's mouth could not help but curl into a smile. The gravitational domain was one of the soul skills in the Titan Giant Ape's soul rings. It could control gravity, and could reach up to 20 times the normal gravity. After fusing with the Golden Dragon Domain, the new Golden Dragon Mystic Heavy Domain was formed. It combined the advantages of both domains, and was extremely powerful. The various abilities of the Golden Dragon Mystic Heavy Domain were strengthened. It increased all attributes from 10% to 15%. The weakening of the opponent's attributes also increased from 10% to 15%. The effects of Dragon's might and excitement were also strengthened. The amplification was greater, but the weakening was also greater. The effects of the gravitational domain were also strengthened. It increased from 20 times the normal gravity to 30 times the normal gravity. The various abilities of the new Golden Dragon Mystic Heavy Domain were terrifying. The only drawback was that it consumed soul power. Even if Lu Yuan tried his best to maintain the Golden Dragon Mystic Heavy Domain, he would be exhausted in less than half an hour. However, half an hour was more than enough time for him. Sometimes, a fight would end in a few minutes. Sometimes, it would take less than 10 minutes. It was very rare for a fight to last for half an hour, unless it was a situation where both parties were evenly matched. However, among his peers, was there anyone who could match Lu Yuan in terms of strength? This was still a question mark. Lu Yuan had expended a lot of soul power. He could only maintain the Golden Dragon Mystic Heavy Domain for about 10 minutes. However, it wouldn't be difficult for him to deal with Chihiro Snow and Zhu Zhuqing in that time. So, who should I start with? Lu Yuan's eyes swept across the two of them. Finally, his gaze froze and stopped at Zhu Zhuqing. Zhuqing, it's decided on you. Lu Yuan stepped forward and sprinted towards Zhu Zhuqing. Zhu Zhuqing's expression changed when she saw Lu Yuan lunging towards her. She didn't want to be spanked by Lu Yuan. In the past, when she lost her temper and Lu Yuan suppressed her, he would kiss her for more than 10 minutes. He would only stop when she was out of breath. In the past, Zhu Zhuqing felt that this was already very impressive. At least she didn't lose her temper in front of Lu Yuan. However, compared to being spanked in front of others, Zhu Zhuqing felt that what she had experienced before was not considered a punishment. If she was really spanked in front of Chihiro Snow and Hulina, how embarrassing would that be? She was thin-skinned to begin with, so she could not accept this kind of thing. Therefore, she immediately asked Chihiro Snow for help. Chihiro Snow, help me. Otherwise, after I'm punished, it'll be your turn. Zhu Zhuqing hurriedly said, a trace of panic in her usually cold eyes. Hearing Zhu Zhuqing's words, Chihiro Snow frowned slightly. What Zhu Zhuqing said was very reasonable. Once Obuchi finished dealing with her, then the next unlucky one would be himself. If he were to be trapped in Obuchi's Golden Dragon mysterious heavy domain by himself, he would definitely be defeated. If he were to join forces with Zhu Zhuqing now, he might have a chance. Chihiro Snow made up his mind. Holding the divine sword, he flapped the wings on his back and was about to fly in Zhu Zhuqing's direction. But at this moment, a strong gravitational force pressed down on her body. Her figure stiffened and fell from the sky. Lu Yuan slightly retracted his finger. He didn't do anything just now. He only increased the gravitational force around Chihiro Snow by 10 times. Under 10 times the gravity, if Chihiro Snow could still fly, he would personally write the word admire for him. One must know that in his domain, Chihiro Snow's attributes had been weakened by a lot. In addition to 10 times the gravity, it was already very good for Chihiro Snow to be able to move freely. Even if he could barely move, his speed would definitely be slow. Wanting to fly? That was almost impossible. Therefore, Chihiro Snow couldn't help Zhu Zhuqing for the time being. Seeing Chihiro Snow being directly punished, Zhu Zhuqing's cold little face was filled with panic. She looked at Lu Yuan's figure and subconsciously retreated. TSK, little kitty, you seem to be a little scared? It's okay, it'll be fine in a while. Seeing Zhu Zhuqing's slightly panicked little face, Lu Yuan smiled slightly. His body was like a swimming dragon, and he instantly closed the distance between him and Zhu Zhuqing. Zhu Zhuqing's expression changed. Her feet moved continuously, and she used a strange footwork. Phoenix dances 6 illusions? Seeing Zhu Zhuqing's movements, Lu Yuan couldn't help but laugh. Zhuqing, don't forget who taught you this set of footwork. I'm much more familiar with it than you are. Seeing the 6 figures, Lu Yuan wasn't confused at all. He directly chased after Zhu Zhuqing's original body. 4th soul skill, Dark Knight Sneak Attack. Seeing that Lu Yuan was pressuring her, Zhu Zhuqing's 4th soul ring lit up and she disappeared. In her opinion, Lu Yuan, who couldn't use his polychoria, wouldn't be able to discover her. However, she neglected the most important point. This was Lu Yuan's domain. As long as there was any movement, Lu Yuan would be able to discover it. Zhu Zhuqing could hide her body, but she couldn't hide the movements she made in his domain. This would also expose her position. You're still hiding, little kitty. You have a lot of tricks up your sleeve. Lu Yuan shook his head slightly. His body moved, and he directly pounced in a direction. This time, Lu Yuan was extremely fast. Lu Yuan's hand was filled with dense golden light. This move contained the power of intent. In an empty place, Zhu Zhuqing's figure suddenly appeared. Lu Yuan grabbed Zhu Zhuqing's shoulder with one hand and pulled her out of her Dark Knight sneak attack state. His left hand grabbed Zhu Zhuqing's body, and her round buttocks were raised high. Lu Yuan raised his right hand and was about to land it. Wait! Zhu Zhuqing hurriedly begged for mercy when she felt Lu Yuan raise his right hand high. What's wrong, little kitty? Do you have anything to say? Lu Yuan asked softly. Lu Yuan, I was wrong. Zhu Zhuqing said softly. What were you wrong about? Lu Yuan asked plainly. I shouldn't have stood by and watched Hulina get beaten up. I should have pleaded for her. Zhu Zhuqing hurriedly said. Oh, so you admit that you were wrong to stand by and watch? Lu Yuan asked. Yes, I was wrong. Zhu Zhuqing hurriedly responded. She was really regretting it. If she had known, she would have pleaded for Hulina. She shouldn't have stood there and didn't say anything. After all, she and Hulina were sisters. What she didn't expect was that Lu Yuan actually cared so much about this. He didn't even care that she was beaten up by them. This was something Zhu Zhuqing didn't expect. Well, not bad. It's good that you know you were wrong. Don't do it again. Lu Yuan said softly. Well, I definitely won't do it again, Zhu Zhuqing hurriedly said when she felt the gentleness in Lu Yuan's words. Chapter 487. I shouldn't be beaten this time, right? Zhu Zhuqing thought to herself. However, just to be on the safe side, Zhu Zhuqing felt that she had to do something. Lu Yuan. Zhu Zhuqing's cold voice carried a rare tenderness. What's wrong, Zhuqing? Lu Yuan asked. It's so good to be able to meet you in this life, Zhu Zhuqing said. Lu Yuan nodded lightly. Lu Yuan. Zhu Zhuqing called out softly again. What's the matter? Lu Yuan's voice sounded. I really love you. You also love me deeply, right? Zhu Zhuqing asked. I love you very much. Lu Yuan didn't deny it. He really did love Zhu Zhuqing. Since you love me, then you definitely won't spank my butt, right? Zhu Zhuqing asked hopefully. Her tone was exceptionally gentle. I've only heard that hitting is a sign of affection, scolding is a sign of love, and when you love to the extreme, you'll kick. So, in order to express my love for you, I've decided to give you a good beating. Lu Yuan's faint voice sounded. Then, pa. Lu Yuan's palm made intimate contact with Zhu Zhuqing's perky butt, making a pa sound. Zhu Zhuqing's figure suddenly stiffened. Her charming face was filled with astonishment. This script isn't right. Logically speaking, shouldn't Lu Yuan spare me, then gently embrace me in his arms and intimately love me? Could it be that I've met a fake Lu Yuan? Zhu Zhuqing was completely immersed in her own doubts. Her previous methods of being gentle had actually lost their effect. But another slap landed on Zhu Zhuqing's perky buttocks, directly waking Zhu Zhuqing up from her self-doubt. As soon as she opened her eyes, she saw Hulina not far away looking at her with a smile. Suddenly, her slightly cold little face flushed red. It's over. Such an embarrassing side was seen by Hulina. It's really embarrassing. Hulina was half lying on the ground. Her butt was a little swollen, so she could only lie down for the time being. However, looking at Zhu Zhuqing at this moment, she smiled very happily. Serves you right. You only cared about watching the show just now. Now, you've been punished by Junior Brother, right? As expected, Junior Brother is still awesome. As expected of my handsome and powerful Junior Brother. Hulina praised Lu Yuan in her heart, completely forgetting that not long ago, he was the one who kept calling her a stinky Junior Brother and a heartless thief. Women are really fickle creatures. Not far away, Chihiro Snow, who was struggling to walk under 10 times the gravity, saw Lu Yuan's big hand land directly on Zhu Zhuqing's perky butt. His body couldn't help but tremble, as if Lu Yuan's slap had also landed on her body. Obuchi won't do the same to me later, right? Definitely not. Obuchi loves me the most. He definitely won't bear to hit me. Chihiro Snow said to himself, but just to be on the safe side, I have to put down my arrogance and act coquettishly with Obuchi later. He definitely likes it when I act coquettishly. Once he's happy, I'll escape a calamity. As for Zhu Zhuqing being hit even though she acted coquettishly, that must be an accident. Because she's not me. Yes, how can she compare with me? I'm Obuchi's official wife. Chihiro Snow constantly comforted himself in his heart, trying to ease his somewhat nervous mood. To be honest, seeing Zhu Zhuqing being spanked, his heart was also scared. But another slap landed on Zhu Zhuqing's perky butt. Lu Yuan withdrew his hand. At this moment, Zhu Zhuqing's perky butt was already swollen. Lu Yuan straightened Zhu Zhuqing's body. Suddenly, her tear-stained face was reflected in Lu Yuan's eyes. Zhu Zhuqing's face was red. She was both shy and aggrieved. Since childhood, this was the first time she was spanked like this. It was really embarrassing. This stinky Lu Yuan, bad Lu Yuan, dead Lu Yuan, said how much he loved her, but in the end, he didn't show any mercy. Sure enough, a man's mouth was a liar. What's wrong? Are you feeling aggrieved? Lu Yuan gently wiped the tears from the corner of Zhu Zhuqing's eyes and asked softly. And Zhu Zhuqing softly snorted. The aggrieved look on her face became more intense. Do you think I want to hit you? I just want to remind you that you're all my women. Senior sister is your sister. You can be jealous of each other, but when one of you is about to be hurt as sisters, don't you have any expression? Today, you watched her being beaten and didn't say anything. Next time, when you see her die, you won't have the slightest reaction, right? At this point, Lu Yuan's voice suddenly became stern. If I don't give you an unforgettable lesson today, will you remember it? I don't want to see the relationship between you become more and more estranged. I hope you can get along well with each other and not scheme against each other. In the future, if anyone dares to take the initiative to stir up trouble, don't blame me for turning hostile. Hearing this, Zhu Zhuqing was sluggish. She slightly lowered her head and remained silent. From the bottom of her heart, when she saw Hulina being beaten up by Lu Yuan, she actually felt a little happy in her heart. She didn't have any bad intentions. She just wanted to see a joke. After all, women liked to be jealous. On this point, she believed that Chihiro Snow was the same. But now that Lu Yuan said this, she knew where she was wrong. No wonder Lu Yuan was so angry. Her and Chihiro Snow's approach was indeed inappropriate. Looking at the silent Zhu Zhuqing, Lu Yuan sighed slightly and gently rubbed her head. He also knew that Zhu Zhuqing and the others didn't have any bad intentions in their hearts. His reaction was actually a little intense. But in all fairness, he really didn't want to see his women scheming against each other, so for those women who liked to cause trouble at first glance, he had always kept a respectful distance. The reason why he didn't accept Ningrongrong was because she was nicknamed the Little Witch. If he accepted her, he was afraid that his harem would explode. This was the main reason why he had always rejected her. Unless Ningrongrong changed the Little Witch's temper, he definitely wouldn't accept her. After all, she wasn't Gu Yuna. Gu Yuna was sensitive and had a gentle personality. At first glance, she was a more well-behaved person. In addition, she was really too beautiful, so Lu Yuan was tempted. Lu Yuan patted Zhu Zhuqing's head and stood up. He then looked at Qian Rinxue, who was not too far away, and gently said, "Schwerer, it's your turn. Do you choose to resist and be suppressed by me and then be beaten, or do you choose to obediently admit your mistakes and accept your punishment?" Hearing this, Chihiro Snow sighed softly. She also heard what Lu Yuan said just now. To be honest, she really shouldn't have stood by and watched Hulina without doing anything. She really did do something wrong. She really should be punished. Chapter 488. I admit my mistake. This matter is indeed my fault. Chihiro Snow put away the divine sword and said softly, "Oh." Lu Yuan's face had a trace of surprise and asked, "Cher, are you sure you admit your mistake, and then take the initiative to accept the punishment?" "I'm sure." Chihiro Snow nodded vigorously and said, "I indeed did not fulfill the obligation of a wife. It is my dereliction of duty, and indeed I should be punished. Hee, it seems that my Cher's awareness is still high. Well, then prepare to accept the punishment." Lu Yuan laughed and said, and then walked in the direction of Chihiro Snow. Chihiro Snow did not resist, and Lu Yuan easily fixed her body in his arms. Looking at Chihiro Snow's perky buttocks, Lu Yuan slightly raised his right hand. "Obuchi, wait, I have a request." Seeing that Lu Yuan seemed to be about to make a move, Chihiro Snow's voice sounded. "You said, as long as it is reasonable, I can consider it? Can you hit me gently later? I am a little afraid of pain." Chihiro Snow bit her red lips and whispered, "About this?" Lu Yuan touched his chin with his right hand as if he was thinking, and then raised his right hand and slapped her directly. "But Obuchi, I hate you." Looking at her swollen buttocks, Chihiro Snow looked at Lu Yuan with hatred. She had already begged for mercy, but in the end, he still hit her so hard that her buttocks were bleeding. I hit you hard to leave a deep impression. If it was just a light hit, how could it be called a punishment? Moreover, you don't know, when I hit you, the pain is in my heart, I actually can't bear to do it. Lu Yuan sighed softly. Bah, I don't believe you. You stinking bastard, you just want to hit me. You must have had this idea for a long time. You're taking revenge for the time when I beat you up when we first met. You stinking man, it's been 7 or 8 years and you're still holding a grudge. Qian Rinxue spat as a look of disdain appeared on her face. Hearing this, Lu Yuan's mouth twitched. In all honesty, he had already forgotten about this matter. His wanting to beat Chihiro Snow had nothing to do with this matter at all. Moreover, Cher actually remembered the matter from 7 or 8 years ago so clearly. However, when Cher said this, he remembered that at that time, he did seem to be a little angry at Chihiro Snow for hitting his peerless beauty, and said that he would teach Cher a lesson if he had the chance. However, those were just words in a moment of anger. He forgot about it after saying it. He didn't take it seriously at all, not to mention remembering it until now. Was he such a narrow-minded person? What, I hit the nail on the head, and you have nothing to say, right? Seeing Lu Yuan fall into deep thought and not say a word, Chihiro Snow thought that she had hit the nail on the head, and said proudly. I say, Cher, you really know how to think. If you didn't mention it, I would have forgotten about this matter long ago. Am I the kind of person who holds a grudge like this? Lu Yuan was angry and amused at the same time, and directly flicked Chihiro Snow's forehead. Ouch! A flick hit Chihiro Snow's smooth forehead, and immediately caused her to cry out in pain. Obuchi, you hit me again. I hit the nail on the head. Are you angry from embarrassment? Humph, stinky man, don't hug me, I hate you to death. Chihiro Snow's beautiful eyes stared at Lu Yuan, and her body slightly struggled. Don't move, you're revolting. Lu Yuan's left hand used force to hold Chihiro Snow's delicate body firmly in his arms, and his right hand slapped Chihiro Snow's butt. Suddenly, Chihiro Snow cried out in alarm, and her whole body instantly quieted down. Only when I use force will you be obedient. Lu Yuan ignored Chihiro Snow's hateful eyes, and directly pinched Chihiro Snow's cheek. Needless to say, Chihiro Snow's cheeks were pink and tender, and it was as if water could be squeezed out of them. As expected of his share, her skin was so good. Humph, I hate you to death. Looking at Lu Yuan's hand pinching her face, Chihiro Snow said hatefully. Hate me to death? Lu Yuan smiled faintly. It doesn't matter, when night comes, you will naturally love me to death. Bah, lecher. Chihiro Snow secretly spat, and softly scolded. Yes, I am a lecher, and I crave your body the most. Every time I see it, I will drool, and don't you want children? Tonight is a great opportunity. Lu Yuan said with a chuckle. Children? Chihiro Snow's expression eased a little. If he could have children with Obuchi, it would be really good. His grandfather had always hoped to have a great-grandson. Although he said that he hated him, in fact, in his heart. How about it, Cher? You don't have any objections, right? If you don't have any objections, then it's settled. You can compete with your senior sister to see who can get pregnant first. Lu Yuan hugged Chihiro Snow lightly, and spoke nonsense with a serious face. His bloodline had yet to be fixed, and it was impossible for him to give birth to a descendant. Now, he was just fooling Chihiro Snow. And it was obvious that Chihiro Snow had been fooled. All right, since you don't have any objections, then it's settled. Lu Yuan chuckled, and with a thought, he immediately removed the Golden Dragon mystic domain, and withdrew his martial soul at the same time. The so-called battle had finally ended. Lu Yuan had a good understanding of the strength of Chihiro Snow and the others. There was indeed an obvious improvement, and this year was not a waste of time. Lu Yuan was quite satisfied with this. With one hand holding Chihiro Snow, Lu Yuan's gaze turned, and it happened to meet Bibidan's gaze. You only know how to fool around. Looking at Lu Yuan, Bibidan shook her head helplessly. She clearly saw all of Lu Yuan's movements in the domain. This disciple of hers actually spanked the buttocks of all three of them. This kind of operation was really unparalleled. However, his strength was indeed strong. He probably used at most 60% to 70% of his strength to deal with these three girls. He even used 100,000-year soul skill, and didn't use 100,000-year soul bone skill at all. In addition, he sealed the sea god's divine skill and polychoria. Obuchi's true strength had probably reached a very high realm now. Bibidan was still surprised by Lu Yuan's rapid growth. Hee. After listening to Bibidan's words, Lu Yuan laughed, but he didn't feel embarrassed. After all, his skin was extraordinarily thick, and this was just a small matter. Bibidan didn't know what to do with this favorite disciple of hers. She couldn't bear to hit him, and she couldn't bear to scold him. This might be the only person in the world who truly cared about her, and she couldn't bear to hurt him. Why aren't you bringing them back to apply the medicine? Bibidan said softly. Oh. Lu Yuan nodded. He held Chihiro Snow with his left hand and Zhu Zhuqing with his right hand. Then, he carried Hulina on his back and walked towards the room not far away. Chapter 489. Lu Yuan's room. Chihiro Snow, Hulina, and Zhu Zhuqing were lying side by side on the bed covered with a sky-blue blanket. Lu Yuan held a bottle of medicine in his hand and looked at the three of them with a smile. Looking at Lu Yuan's appearance, Chihiro Snow gritted his teeth and forced out a sentence. Surnamed Lu, did you do something when you hit us? Why can't we recover the esoteric character? Logically speaking, a swollen but should be a small injury to the esoteric character. Although Chihiro Snow and the rest only understood the surface of the esoteric character, it was easy for them to recover from such a small injury. All they needed to do was to circulate their soul power. In the end, they circulated their soul power several times, but there was no effect at all. Their butts were still swollen. She had reason to suspect that it was the guy in front of her who did this. After all, his understanding of the esoteric character was much stronger than theirs. If he wanted to make their esoteric character lose its effect, it would not be difficult. Who said that? I didn't. Don't accuse a good person. Lu Yuan immediately denied Chihiro Snow's words. He would never admit that he was the one who did it. If he allowed them to recover, how would he be able to help them apply medicine? Accuse a good person? I didn't. It must be you who did something. Otherwise, why would the esoteric character lose its effect? Chihiro Snow asked. Perhaps your understanding of it is not deep enough. Sigh, the esoteric character of swordsman is broad and profound. With your wisdom, it is still difficult to comprehend it. Never mind, I will guide you when I have the time. Lu Yuan sighed softly and pretended to be helpless. You're still pretending. Don't think I don't know what you're planning. Chihiro Snow looked at the medicine bottle in Lu Yuan's hand and understood everything. This stinky guy wanted to take advantage of them again. Damn stinky guy. If he wanted to take advantage of them, just say it. How could they not agree? After all, they had already slept with them. What was there to be afraid of? In the end, this guy just had to do this. It was really a little infuriating. What can I do? I just want to apply medicine for you. Why? Don't you need it? Alright, then forget it. You guys can continue to suffer. As Lu Yuan spoke, he took the medicine bottle and looked like he was about to put it back into his astral ring. Seeing Lu Yuan's actions, Chihiro Snow and Zhu Zhuqing couldn't help but grit their teeth. This man was truly shameless. Their butts were still hurting, but their personalities were a little similar. They were both a little stubborn and would not easily beg for mercy, let alone beg Lu Yuan to apply medicine for them. Wouldn't that be exactly what this bad guy wanted? However, there was one person who thought differently from the two of them. When she saw that Lu Yuan was going to personally apply medicine for them, Not only was she not angry at all, she even smiled and looked happy. Junior brother, senior sister wants to apply medicine. Come and help, Hulina said softly as she looked at Lu Yuan. Oh, senior sister, aren't you worried that I'm up to no good? Lu Yuan asked with a smile. What bad ideas can you have? Aren't you just trying to take advantage of me? Senior sister likes to let you take advantage of me, Hulina said coquettishly. Hearing this, Chihiro Snow and Zhu Zhuqing both frowned. This Hulina was really hopeless. She could even say such things. As expected of the owner of the nine-tailed fox martial soul. As expected, no matter how she changed, a fox was still a fox. Even if her martial soul had a hint of holiness, she was still a fox. Her fox nature still couldn't be changed. Lu Yuan also smiled faintly. As expected, Hulina was Hulina. She was just different. She was bold, passionate, and didn't shy away. However, he liked this kind of Hulina. Lu Yuan took the medicine bottle and walked to Hulina's side. He squatted down slightly and looked at Hulina's jade-like face, slightly blinking his eyes. Junior brother, you're so handsome. Looking at Lu Yuan, who was just inches away from her, Hulina stared blankly at Lu Yuan's handsome face, and a trace of infatuation flashed through her eyes. Senior sister, you said that when you first fell in love with me, was it because I was handsome? Lu Yuan's index finger gently lifted Hulina's chin and said with a smile. Yes, senior sister is also a face lover. Hulina didn't deny it. Instead, she openly admitted it. At the beginning, she slowly fell in love with Lu Yuan because he was handsome, and then after getting along with him for a long time, she slowly fell in love with Lu Yuan. She was lusting after Lu Yuan's body, and she wouldn't deny it. Tisk, honest. As expected of senior sister. You're really magnanimous, unlike the other two who obviously want to get close to me, but pretend to be shy. What's the point of this? Lu Yuan looked at Chihiro Snow and Zhu Zhuqing. Humph! Humph! The two women snorted at the same time. Their charming faces were slightly red, and they turned their heads away. Lu Yuan wasn't annoyed by the two women's actions. He chuckled and said faintly, Actually, I like senior sisters because you're beautiful. If you were ugly, I wouldn't even look at you. I'm also a face lover. I'm just lusting after your body. Poochie. Hulina chuckled. Junior brother, you're also very honest. I've always been very honest. Lu Yuan smiled and pinched Hulina's delicate face. Then, he stood up and walked 2 steps behind Hulina. Looking at her swollen buttocks, Lu Yuan couldn't help but smack his lip. Did he hit her too hard? Now, it looked like he was really distressed. Senior sister, I'm going to help you take off your pants, Lu Yuan said softly. You take it off. Hulina's pretty face was slightly red, and she said softly. Then I'll start. Lu Yuan said and began to work. After taking off Hulina's pants, Lu Yuan quickly applied the medicine. As for how he took advantage of her, he said that, but in fact, he was just joking. He was just bored and wanted to tease these 3 women. Senior sister, after applying the medicine, how do you feel? After putting on Hulina's clothes again, Lu Yuan asked with a chuckle. It's very comfortable. It's cold and I don't feel any pain at all. Hulina's face showed a trace of surprise. Junior brother's medicine was too effective. Comfortable, right? This medicine was specially made by me. After applying it, in less than an hour, the wound on your buttocks will be healed. Lu Yuan said. This so fast. Hulina's eyes widened. Was there such an obvious healing effect? Of course, I'm an alchemist. This medicine was carefully prepared by me. Of course, the effect is good. Lu Yuan said with a smile. Carefully prepared? I see that when you carefully prepared it, you also deliberately planned it. Tell me, have you been planning this for a long time? Just to beat us up? Listening to Lu Yuan's words, Chihiro Snow's voice sounded. Cher, how can you think of me like that? Am I such a person? Hearing this, Lu Yuan looked at Chihiro Snow and said with a serious face, Chapter 490. You are that kind of person. As soon as Lu Yuan finished speaking, Chihiro Snow's voice immediately sounded. Oh, Cher, it seems that you have a big misunderstanding about me. I think we need to have a good talk. Lu Yuan chuckled and walked towards Chihiro Snow. Smelly. Obuchi, what do you want? Seeing Lu Yuan walking towards him, Chihiro Snow's voice carried a trace of undetectable panic. What do you think I want? Lu Yuan's eyes carried a trace of playfulness, and the corner of his mouth hooked up into a meaningful smile. Obuchi, don't mess around, there are people here. Seeing Lu Yuan's meaningful smile, Chihiro Snow's heart suddenly became violently flustered. Zhu Zhuqing and Hulina were here, and more importantly, it was daytime. Tonight, how about tonight? Chihiro Snow's voice carried a trace of pleading. What do you think? Lu Yuan smiled faintly, and his figure directly moved forward. Woo! Cher, how do you feel? Rubbing Chihiro Snow's head, Lu Yuan's mouth carried a trace of a smile. Chihiro Snow rolled her eyes at Lu Yuan. So you said to help me apply medicine. What else? What did you think I was going to do? Lu Yuan's face carried a trace of a mischievous smile. Cher, do you want to do it with me now? Although it's daytime now, but if you really want, Cher, I can accept. Lu Yuan winked at Chihiro Snow and said with a chuckle. Get lost, you want, pervert, you're bad. Chihiro Snow shouted. Just think, the matter between men and women is the principle of heaven and earth. What's there to be shy about? If you're too shy, you'll seem hypocritical. Look at senior apprentice sister, she never hides her thoughts. Lu Yuan said softly. Bah! Chihiro Snow spat. How could she compare to Hulina? Not everyone was as bold as Hulina. She had always been shy in this aspect, and it was not like this stinky guy didn't know. In the end, he deliberately made fun of her. How could she fall in love with this guy? Chihiro Snow fell into deep suspicion. Looking at Chihiro Snow's appearance, Lu Yuan did not tease her anymore. Teasing her was enough, it would not be good if it went too far. He still had to control his limit. Patting Chihiro Snow's little head, Lu Yuan's gaze turned to Zhu Zhuqing. Little kitty, it's your turn. You do it. Zhu Zhuqing's face was slightly red, but she could not help but nod. Since even Chihiro Snow had surrendered, what was the point of her persisting? Moreover, her butt was swollen and it did hurt a little. That's a good girl. Like Cher, you struggled at the beginning, but in the end, didn't you say it was delicious? Isn't it better to just agree? Lu Yuan lightly ridiculed, causing Chihiro Snow to clench her teeth. This Obuchi was really getting more and more overboard. The three of them were probably going to be bullied to death by him. In the past, he was still somewhat in awe of her, but now... Looking at her current appearance, Chihiro Snow could not help but sigh. Obuchi was no longer the Obuchi who was obedient to her in the past. Blue skinny mushroom. The current situation was that she was the one who was obedient. He said that he wanted her to control him, but in the end she could not control him at all. She did not know what Guyuna was like in front of Obuchi. Was she like them, who allowed him to bully her, or was she like before, who controlled him everywhere? However, thinking about Guyuna's strength, when she was with Obuchi she should be able to control Obuchi. After all, she dared to tie up Obuchi alone for a year. Such a thing, she, Chihiro Snow, would not do. Even in the past, she would not do it. And after doing it, not only did Obuchi not get tired of it, but he even spoke up for her in front of her and others. With this method, did she completely conquer Obuchi? It has to be said that Chihiro Snow was very good at thinking. If Guyuna was in front of her, she would definitely say, "You think too much." In front of Lu Yuan, "I am not as good as you. You can still throw a tantrum, but I will do whatever he says. Except for being a little stronger, the rest isn't it still easy for him to bully me?" Of course, Guyuna did not know what Chihiro Snow was thinking, and Chihiro Snow also did not know that Guyuna was like a little punching bag in front of Lu Yuan. She was simply bullied by him. If Chihiro Snow knew this, she might be even more shocked. "Okay, kitten, how do you feel?" Lu Yuan applied medicine for Zhu Zhuqing, rubbed Zhu Zhuqing's little head, and asked softly. "I feel very good, it doesn't hurt at all." Zhu Zhuqing's pretty face was a little red. Just now, Lu Yuan's fingers were in close contact with her skin, which made her a little shy, but also gave her a strange feeling. "It's good that it doesn't hurt." Pinching Zhu Zhuqing's face, Lu Yuan stood up and looked at the three women lying on the bed. Lu Yuan said softly, "You three stay here to recuperate, I have something to discuss with the teacher." "What's the matter?" Chihiro Snow asked. When it came to business, Chihiro Snow's eyes immediately became focused, and the expression on his face became more serious. "It's not a big deal, just some small things to the teacher. You rest for a while, I will be back in a while." Looking at Chihiro Snow's eyes with a trace of pity, Lu Yuan's mouth curved into a gentle smile. Looking at the familiar pity in Lu Yuan's eyes and the gentle smile on the corner of his mouth, Chihiro Snow's heart suddenly warmed. This is the right way to be Obuchi. Who were those people just now? This is the Obuchi who pampers her, loves her, and cherishes her. "Oh, right, what do you want to eat for lunch? I will let them prepare it." Just taking 2 steps, Lu Yuan turned back and asked the three women. "I am fine with anything." Chihiro Snow's gentle voice sounded. I want to eat fish." A little cold, this was Zhu Zhuqing's voice. "Well, I will remember, little greedy cat." Looking at Zhu Zhuqing's eyes with a trace of doting, he knew that as long as he asked Zhu Zhuqing this, it must be fish, all kinds of fish. "What about you, senior sister?" Lu Yuan's gaze turned to Hulina. "Me!" And Hulina's jade-like hand held her chin, thought for a while, and said, "I want to eat spicy rabbit head, iron plate beef tendon, steamed water swordfish, spicy 8 treasure chicken, red fruit cod soup." "Stop!" Looking at Hulina's list of dishes, Lu Yuan quickly stopped, looking at Hulina's eyes slightly strange. "I say, senior sister, are you a foodie? Can you finish so many dishes?" "Hee, if I can't finish it, I have junior brother. You have a big appetite, you can definitely finish it." Hulina chuckled. Looking at Hulina's appearance, Lu Yuan helplessly shook his head and said, "Then I will just pick a few from what you said. You rest first, I will go first." With that, he helplessly shook his head again, walked out of the door, and then closed the door. Chapter 491. As soon as Lu Yuan went out, the room suddenly quieted down. Without Lu Yuan, the three of them really had nothing to talk about when they were together. In the past year, other than when they first got together when the news of Lu Yuan's accident came, the other time was when Lu Yuan came back. It could be said that in the past 2 years, the three of them only got together twice. Chihiro Snow was lying in the middle, Hulina was on the right, and Zhu Zhuqing was on the left. "Hulina, I'm sorry about today," Chihiro Snow said softly, apologizing to Hulina. "Indeed, I'm also very sorry about today." Zhu Zhuqing's voice sounded. "Obuchi is right. We are all his women, so we should get along well and not fight against each other. Today, when we saw you being beaten, we didn't plead for mercy. However, I can assure you that there won't be a next time," Chihiro Snow said. Hearing this, Hulina was stunned. Her face showed a trace of surprise. She really didn't expect that Chihiro Snow and Zhu Zhuqing would apologize to her. This really surprised her. However, she wasn't an ordinary person. She quickly reacted. With a trace of shame on her face, she said, "Actually, I was also wrong. When I saw you being beaten, I was a little gloating in my heart. I also want to apologize to you." Alas! Chihiro Snow sighed and said, "Today's incident was a warning from Obuchi. I've known him for almost 8 years. This is the first time he hit me. If it was in the past, I would never believe that he would do this to me. It seems that he was really angry today. He actually hit me in front of you. Me too. This is the first time I've been spanked by someone. Zhu Zhuqing's slightly cold voice sounded. When she talked about being spanked, her face was slightly red with a trace of shyness. I'm not. I've been spanked several times, but this time was the worst. My butt was swollen. Compared to Chihiro Snow and Zhu Zhuqing, Hulina didn't care much. She was used to being spanked so many times that she was used to it. You were asking for it. You had to provoke Obuchi. You even said, hit me if you have the ability. If you said that, it would be strange if Obuchi didn't hit you. Listening to Hulina's words, Chihiro Snow ridiculed. Hearing this, Hulina stuck out her tongue. She was a little embarrassed. She was indeed asking for it. She even wondered if she had lost her mind at that time. Today's incident reminded me that Obuchi doesn't like us to be jealous. Then we should all restrain ourselves and get along well in the future. Don't provoke each other, so as not to make Obuchi unhappy. This time, the thunder was big but the rain was small, but if there's a next time, I'm afraid Obuchi will really be angry. Chihiro Snow's eyes flickered and said softly, well, you're right. Zhu Zhuqing nodded gently. I know this. The three of us get along well, but what about Gu Yuna? Can she be like us? Hulina said. Don't tell me you're still angry because Na-Er's name was stolen. If you really can't stand it, you can complain to Obuchi. With his character, he will definitely comfort you. But don't target Gu Yuna. This is Obuchi's taboo. You've already been beaten up today. You should also know Obuchi's attitude. He doesn't want to see his harem burn. Chihiro Snow's expression was serious, and his tone was serious. Well, I know. Listening to Chihiro Snow's words, Hulina nodded. That's good. No matter what Gu Yuna's attitude is, we just have to do our part. Obuchi is not blind. On the contrary, he is extremely smart. What can be hidden from him? Maybe he has already noticed your little thoughts, but just didn't point it out. If you do something stupid, the unlucky one will definitely be you. Chihiro Snow warned. Alas, I know. Hulina sighed, and her expression was a little helpless. Was the name Na-Er going to leave her just like that? If I were you, instead of worrying about Na-Er's name, I'd rather show off in front of Obuchi and give him a more intimate name. Wouldn't that be better? Hearing Hulina's sigh, Zhu Zhuqing said softly. Yes. Hulina suddenly understood, and a smile suddenly appeared on her face. The reason why I care about Na-Er's name is because of Obuchi. As long as Obuchi can give me a more intimate name, then why should I worry about Na-Er's name? Thank you, Zhuqing. Hulina said with a trace of gratitude on her face. It's a small matter, don't worry about it. Zhu Zhuqing said. By the way, Zhuqing, you've always been by Obuchi's side. How much do you know about his love life? Chihiro Snow asked. You want to ask if he has other women, right? Zhu Zhuqing glanced at Chihiro Snow and said softly. After being exposed by Zhu Zhuqing, Chihiro Snow didn't deny it, and instead generously admitted, yes, that's what I meant. Apart from the three of us and Gu Yuna, who we don't know of, is there anyone else? There shouldn't be anyone else, but Ning Rongrong from the Seven Treasures Glazed sect is infatuated with Lu Yuan. She chased him from the Seven Treasures Glazed sect to Shrek Academy, and then from Shrek Academy to Heavenly Star Academy. Her feelings for Lu Yuan are very deep, but Lu Yuan has never accepted her. In the past, I didn't know why he rejected her, but now I know. What's the reason? Hulina asked. It's probably her personality. Ning Rongrong is known as the Little Witch. Apart from being a little restrained in front of Lu Yuan, she is quite arrogant in front of others. Lu Yuan is probably afraid that if he accepts her, his harem will not be peaceful. That's why he keeps rejecting her, Zhu Zhuqing said. Ning Rongrong. Chihiro Snow whispered and asked, is there anyone else? If there's anyone else, it should be Duguyen. She also transferred to Heavenly Star Academy. Presumably, she came for Obuchi. I don't know how deep her feelings for Obuchi are, but she definitely has a good impression of him. What about Obuchi? Chihiro Snow asked. Obuchi seems to have no feelings for her. He didn't even say a few words to her. Thinking about it, Doguyen doesn't have much hope. Zhu Zhuqing gently blinked and said, "That's good." Then looking at the situation, the most likely one is Ning Rongrong. Chihiro Snow fell into deep thought. She was thinking if Lu Yuan really liked Ning Rongrong, then she would support or oppose. What, you don't agree? Looking at Chihiro Snow, Zhu Zhuqing asked softly. Chapter 492. Zhu Zhuqing had a good opinion of Ning Rongrong. Otherwise, she wouldn't have persuaded Lu Yuan to take her in. However, the situation was different now. Zhu Zhuqing thought that Lu Yuan only had 3 women, so he didn't mind adding Ning Rongrong. However, she had now appeared out of nowhere. Now there were 4. She might not be able to persuade Lu Yuan to take Ning Rongrong in. After all, with each additional person, the love she received would decrease. Humans were selfish. She naturally wanted more love from Lu Yuan. Well, Chihiro Snow didn't answer Zhu Zhuqing's question immediately. Instead, he looked at Hulina. If Obuchi wants to take Ning Rongrong in, will you agree or disagree? I don't care. It's fine as long as he likes me. As long as he loves me as much as he does now, I don't care how many women he finds. Hulina said softly as she met Chihiro Snow's gaze. You're very open-minded. Chihiro Snow smiled after hearing Hulina's words. She knew that she wasn't as open-minded as Hulina. She didn't want Lu Yuan to be surrounded by more than 10 women. She couldn't accept that. However, if Obuchi really likes Ning Rongrong, it's not impossible to take her in. After all, the 7 Treasures glazed sect will be in his hands if he takes her in. This is more reliable than using soul tools. Even if he knows that Obuchi is from the Martial Soul Palace, he can only follow this path to the end. Chihiro Snow said softly. So you agree? Zhu Zhuqing looked at Qian Rinxue with a trace of surprise in her eyes. Qian Rinxue actually agreed so easily, which really made her a little surprised. Yes, I don't have any objections. As for this, it's mainly up to Obuchi. I don't agree or disagree. It's all up to him. This should be the safest way. Chihiro Snow sighed softly and said, Yes. Hearing this, Zhu Zhuqing couldn't help but nod. It was best to let Lu Yuan handle these matters himself. I don't know what Obuchi wants to talk about with that woman. They're so mysterious, Chihiro Snow murmured. His eyes flickered with curiosity. In the pavilion in the middle of the lake, Bibidon sat there quietly, admiring the scenery of the lake. Teacher. Looking at Bibidon's beautiful figure, Lu Yuan called out softly. He's here? Bibidon turned around and looked at the white-robed Lu Yuan. A faint smile appeared on her charming face. Come and sit, Obuchi. Yes, teacher. Lu Yuan took a few steps forward and sat down on a stone bench beside Bibidon. It was currently April. The sky was clear and the sun was shining brightly. The weather was extremely suitable. One had to admit that pouring a cup of tea, sitting in the pavilion in the middle of the lake, and admiring the beautiful scenery of the lake, was really a very pleasant thing. Especially with a beauty like Bibidon present, it was even more pleasant. A beauty and a beautiful scenery, nothing more beautiful could be imagined. Have some tea. Bibidon picked up the teapot and personally poured a cup of tea for Lu Yuan. Thank you, teacher. Lu Yuan took the teacup from Bibidon's hand and took a sip. Then, he put down the teacup and cast his gaze on Bibidon. Bibidon was very beautiful today. Her beautiful face was paired with a faint smile. Her charm was limitless. Why are you looking at me like that? Bibidon asked softly when she noticed that he was sizing her up. Teacher, You are really beautiful today, Lu Yuan said softly with admiration in his eyes. Bibidon was indeed very beautiful. At first glance, she was very stunning. If one looked carefully, they would find that her appearance was definitely not inferior to Chihiro Snow. Unlike Qian Rinxue was sacred, pure, and youthful. On the other hand, Bibi Dong was dignified, elegant, graceful, and luxurious. His entire being was suffused with a mature aura. It was this mature aura that was even more charming. You are being glib again. Even your teacher is being coaxed. Bibidon glared at Lu Yuan. In an instant, all kinds of flirtatious expressions were revealed, causing Lu Yuan to be slightly dazed. Bibidon's charm was really great. Say it. What do you want to discuss with me? Being praised by Lu Yuan, Bibidon's mouth had a hint of reprimand, but her face was full of smiles. That's right. Which woman didn't like people saying that they were beautiful? Bibidon was naturally no exception. Furthermore, she had never heard anyone say such words before. At the very least, that bookworm Yu Xiaojiang had never said such words before. Now that she heard it from her disciple, it was really interesting. Looking at Bibidon's expression, Lu Yuan said softly, "Teacher, I might not be able to represent the Martial Soul Palace in the Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament this time. I plan to form my own team to participate." Is that so? Bibidon pondered for a moment and said, "Since you want to do it, then do it. The Martial Soul Palace has won so many times. Losing once is nothing. Furthermore, losing to you isn't a big problem. The reward this time is 3 soul bones. I originally wanted to give them to the Golden Generation. After all, you don't lack soul bones. Furthermore, you might not be interested in those soul bones. However, if you form a team to participate in the tournament, they should land in your hands. If they land in your hands, that's fine. It's just that one of the skulls is very suitable for Na. You can give it to her when the time comes. As for the other 2, you can keep them for yourself." Bibidon said gently. "Teacher, senior sister already has a skull. I gave it to her." As he spoke, Lu Yuan told Bibidon about the illusory skull. "Is that so?" Bibidon pondered for a moment and said, "Then you're going to give the wisdom skull to Zhu Qing." Yes. Teacher, you're really smart. I really can't hide anything from you." Lu Yuan smiled as he flattered Huoyuhao. "How can I be smarter than you? You're so young, but you have so many bad thoughts. Did you feel good after spanking their butts just now? I think I should really give you a beating too. You're always doing such messy things." When she thought about what happened not too long ago, Bibidon was both angry and amused. This precious disciple of hers was really capable of doing anything. He even spanked Na and the others right in front of her. Did he think that she couldn't see him through her domain? After being glanced at by Bibidon, Lu Yuan was a little embarrassed as he scratched his head and pretended to be simple and honest. Seeing Lu Yuan pretending to be simple and honest, Bibidon couldn't help but find it funny. She slapped Lu Yuan's head lightly and said, "All right, don't I know what kind of person you are? Why are you still pretending in front of me?" Lu Yuan smiled awkwardly. He did not expect Bibidon to be able to see through him, so he could only put on a smile. "You." Looking at Lu Yuan's appearance, Bibidon sighed softly. She raised her hand and gently rubbed Lu Yuan's head. At the same time, a faint fragrance spread from Bibidon's body. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Nights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.